Hey college students, are you looking for a part-time job that works around your schedule, pays well, and gives you free money for college every year? McDonald's offers all of it. We can work around your schedule, and we give $2,500 scholarships to everyone who works for 3 months and averages 15 hours per week. That's 2 full shifts a week or 3 shifts of 5 hours. It's that easy. We've already given out more than $75,000 to students in North Dakota this year. Let us help you become the next scholarship recipient. Come join our team. Text ND29 to 38000 to apply today.
You live life on the move. While you determine what direction that may be, we're here to help along the way. So go. Go with values. Go with friends. Go with support. Go with convenience.
KOVC.
I ride east every other Friday, but if I had it my way, a day would not be wasted on this drive. And I want so bad to hold you, some of those things I haven't told you. Your mom and me couldn't get along, so I drive and I think about my life and wonder why that I slowly die inside every time I turn that truck around right at the Georgia line. And I count the days and the miles back home to you on that highway 20 ride. Day might come, you realize that if you see through my eyes, there was no other way to work it out. And a part of you might hate me, but son, please don't mistake me for the man that didn't care at all. And I drive and I think about my life and wonder why that I slowly die inside every time I turn that truck around right at the Georgia line. And I count the days and the miles back home to you on that highway 20 ride. When you drive and the years go flying by, I hope you smile if I ever cross your mind. It was a pleasure of my life, and I cherished every time. And my whole world, it begins and ends with you on that highway 20 ride. takes my blues away. Sweet Maria, the sunlight surely hurts my eyes. I'm a lonely dreamer on a highway in the sky. Maria, I love you, girl. Maria, I love you, girl. I love you. My Maria, there was some blue and sorrow times. Just my thoughts about you bring back my peace of mind. Gypsy lady, you're a miracle work for me. You set my soul free like a ship sailing on the sea. She is the sunlight when the skies are gray. She treats me so right, lady. Take me away. My Maria, I love you, girl. Maria, I love you, girl. Maria, I love you. My Maria, I love you, girl. Maria, I love you, girl. Maria, I love you. My Maria, I love you, Maria, I love you. My Maria, I love you,
Download the KOVC app to your iPhone or Android and listen anywhere to the voice of the Valley, KOVC.
I don't see you laugh. You don't call me back, but you kiss me when you're drunk. I don't know your friends, don't know where you've been. Why are you the one I want? Don't put your lips up to my mouth and tell me you can't stay. Don't slip your hand under my shirt and tell me it's okay. Don't say it doesn't matter, 'cause it's gonna matter to me. I can't be alone with you. Got me out on the edge every time you call, and I know it would kill me if I fall. I can't be alone with you. Please don't chain that door. I can't win this war. Your body's like a pill I shouldn't take. Don't put your lips up to my mouth and tell me you can't stay. Don't slip your hand under my shirt and tell me it's okay. Don't say it doesn't matter, 'cause it's gonna matter to me. I can't be alone with you. Got me out on the edge every time you call, and I know it would kill me if I fall. I can't be alone with you. Don't put your lips up to my mouth and tell me you can't stay. Don't slip your hand under my shirt and tell me it's okay. Don't say you love me, cause you know you're gonna love me and leave. I can't be alone with you. Got me out on the edge every time you call, and I know it would kill me if I fall. I can't be alone with you. I don't see you laugh, you don't call me back, but you kiss me when you're drunk.
The voice of the Valley since 1936. KOVC, 1490 AM and 96.3 FM.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse on campus of Valley City State University, where tonight game number 2 is about to unfold in our first conference doubleheader of the season. And tonight, Valley City State University will take on Dakota State in men's play, with a chance for the Vikings to try to earn the split after the Viking women were beaten 104-67 tonight by the 13th ranked team in the country, the Dakota State University Trojan women. And we welcome you to the opener of conference men's play for the Vikings, but it's not the opener of conference men's play for Dakota State. Dakota State comes into this matchup in men's play at 0-1 in the league and a record overall of 10-7, but this team was once 10-4. They've now lost 3 consecutive games, and they're a very interesting team to try to figure out. Dakota State has only had one game go against them in somewhat blowout fashion. They took on MSU Mankato, which Minnesota State obviously, and they're right on the cusp of mid-major status, obviously a Division II team, and they were beaten 116-62 by that team. But this is a team from Dakota State that has some really nice wins in its resume. College of the Ozarks, that's not an easy win to get. They defeated College of the Ozarks 77-69, a 1-point win over Dakota Wesleyan, and they won 8 games in a row after dropping 3. But lately, it's been tough sledding. They've only won 2 of their last 7 games, including 3 losses in a row at Midland, Nebraska, good team out of the GPAC, by 6. At home versus Hastings, Nebraska, by 7. And they were beaten at Bellevue by a score of 69-68 in conference play after they won a game over Bellevue earlier this year in rather convincing fashion. And so in the long run, this team might be asking themselves a few questions, and they've got to go on the road for 3 straight games, Bellevue being the first of those. That was a week ago, and now they've got to play this one on the road in a doubleheader tonight and tomorrow when they've got Dickinson State on the road. And this is not going to be an easy situation for Dakota State to try to remedy on the road. They're going to take on a Vikings team that, after adding a couple of pieces of personnel at the semester break, they've been trying to find a rotation that works for them, and they're going to change up their starting lineup again tonight. One of those new players, Agua Naiwesh, who is a player that Ryan Montgomery, the head coach of the Vikings, really believes in, is going to find his way into the starting lineup tonight. But that changes a starting lineup that was stable for basically the entire first half of the season, the non-conference season. So again, Valley City State trying to find the right combination as they enter conference play, and Dakota State is trying to right the ship after an 8-game winning streak turns into 2 out of the last 7 that they've been able to put in the win column, including 3 in a row that have been lost on the road. And that It's the setup for tonight's matchup in our brief Sanford Health pregame report, brought to you this evening by Sanford Health Valley City, here for good and here for all. And one thing that we can mention tonight as we get started, folks, the weather situation out there has changed for us as well. We wanted to make sure that we get you these details tonight. A winter weather advisory has been put into place by the National Weather Service, and that winter weather advisory will go until 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. We're expecting a lot of snow and blowing snow, maybe up to 2 inches, but winds gusting as high as 40 miles per hour. That's going to bring visibilities down to a half a mile, brief reductions to a quarter of a mile, and slippery road conditions as well with widespread blowing snow. So again, that was put into place by the National Weather Service at about 6 o'clock tonight. It's a winter weather advisory for the Barnes County area that will go until 6 o'clock coming up tomorrow evening. And that winter weather advisory extends all the way from the North Dakota border with Canada up near Langdon and Pembina, all the way down to the South Dakota border through the Valley City, Lisbon area and into the Wahpeton area. Devils Lake included, Grafton, Grand Forks, Fargo, Jamestown not included, but just barely. Barnes, Ransom, Sargent, Cass, Griggs, and Steele counties all involved in that winter weather advisory. So use caution if you're moving around out there tonight. We have a look at our starting lineups on the way in a couple of moments, and we'll get ready for basketball in a couple as well. The Vikings with a record of 8-6, Dakota State 10-7. It's the conference opener, and it's next on the Voice of the Vikings and the Voice of the Valley, KOVC.
This is Charlotte Inkstead, a former Valley City Highliner and Valley City State Viking, and now a member of the Viking Booster Board. I've experienced firsthand the support our Valley City community has for VCSU. Donations to scholarships and support for the Vikings can truly make a difference in the lives of student athletes. However you'd like to be involved, we'd love to have you on our team. It can be as simple as making a donation to Century Club scholarships, showing up and cheering on the Vikings, or joining me and other volunteers on the booster board. For more information, contact Viking Athletics at 701-845-7160.
When you're craving the taste of juicy, flavorful, locally sourced beef and pork, look no further than your locally owned Valley Meat Supply. At Valley Meat Supply, we take pride in bringing you the finest cuts of beef and pork straight from local producers. So whether you're planning a mouth-watering barbecue or a cozy family meal, choose Valley Meat Supply for the highest quality, locally grown beef, pork, and award-winning jerky, sticks, and sausage. Valley Meat Supply, West Main, Valley City. Your taste buds will thank you.
CHI Mercy Health in Valley City strives to bring you quality health care close to home. They're bringing in mammography services, extended their occupational therapy program, and updated physical therapy and emergency room spaces. They're currently seeking to fill a number of positions. To find out more, head to chimercyhealth.org under the Careers tab. CHI Mercy Health Valley City, voted top 100 critical access hospital and one of the first in the nation designated as an acute cardiac-ready hospital, providing quality health care close to home.
Welcome back to our coverage of Viking basketball on the Voice of the Vikings and the Voice of the Valley, KOVC, from the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse tonight on campus of Valley City State University. The band is here tonight, and they always add such a great presence to this when we get ready for some conference basketball. And a nice little rivalry that's developed between these two teams in football and basketball. There's been some really tight competition between these two. Valley City State University, a record of 8-6. Dakota State University, 0-1 in conference play, now a record of 10-7 after a 3-game losing streak brings them in to the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse coming up tonight. And as we get ready for this one, worth mentioning one of the side stories on the sideline for Dakota State is Darren Teig, the head coach of the Trojans, was the head coach of Mayville State University a year ago and actually left that job at Mayville State after the season had started. And we kind of wondered how that was going to go for him and how that was going to go for Dakota State and Mayville State all the way around. And Mayville State has found a way to be successful. But at the same time, Darren Teig is one of the good ones, and it's good to see him land in a place where he is able to continue his coaching career and be a big part of what it is that his team has going on. Let's take a look at our starting lineups for tonight's matchup. First of all, they're brought to you this evening by CHI Mercy Health Valley City. Hello, human kindness. Dakota State will start this way tonight. The guards are Uzo Dibimaka, a 6'3 senior from Northgate, South Australia. Japjit Gill, a 6'1 senior from Union City, California, and Braden Pankinen, a 5'9 freshman from Del Rapids, South Dakota. The forwards, Emmanuel Okpan, a 6'5 junior from Rockland, California, and Mason Coylton, a 6'2 junior from Stockton, California. As we mentioned, Darren Teig in his first season as the head coach of Dakota State. For the Vikings this evening, the guards will be Caden Rickard, a 6-foot junior from Fargo, North Dakota, and Cleveland Bedgood, a 6'3 senior from Miami, Florida. Also at guard tonight, Agua Naiwesh, a 6'4 junior from Austin, Minnesota. The forwards are Ladarius Stanfield, a 6'6 junior from Sacramento, California, and Hunter Lineman, a 6'8 junior from West Fargo, North Dakota. Ryan Montgomery in his 8th season as the head coach of Valley City State University, with Tim Wagner in the right-hand chair for this one tonight. And we'll see how the change in starting lineup for the Vikings works together for Valley City State. Like we mentioned, we really kind of thought we knew what the Vikings were going to look like at the beginning of the year because their starting lineup was just so stable game after game after game. But the game plan had always been for Oseno Nagome and Agua Naiwesh to join this team. It's just a matter of when they got those things worked out. Well, it does present a wrinkle as far as the rotation is concerned, and Ryan Montgomery really believes in Agua Naiwesh and his ability to produce, and he's going to find himself in the starting lineup tonight for Valley City State. Viking starters are announced. We have the Dakota State starters announced. Trojans are in, I believe, black tonight, or is it really navy blue? It's tough to tell. I believe it's navy blue with royal blue numerals and letters. And just closed circuit, somebody's got to do something about these uniforms from Dakota State University. You can't see hide nor hair of a number or script. And they do this in football as well. They have these sort of pale powder blue uniforms with white numbers that you can't see. I don't know how any official in the country looks at that and says that's clearly contrasting. It doesn't meet the standard. And I believe that it's supposed to be a technical foul when a team goes onto the floor with that type of a look. But you know what? We're going to do our best to pencil through it tonight. We'll see what happens. It's about all we can do at this point, right? So here we go. The jump for Dakota State, Emmanuel Okpan will go to the middle. And he's going to take on Ladarius Stanfield for the jump ball tonight. And the tap will be controlled by Dakota State to get things moving this evening. And Japjit Gill will come to the front court, possessing the basketball for the first time. Ball left corner to Mason Coylton. He threw it away, trying to look underneath. Ball ends up out of bounds to the near side. The Viking defense will force a turnover 12 seconds into the matchup. And again, a winter weather advisory has been issued out there, folks, until 6 o'clock tomorrow. So use all kinds of caution if you're moving around. Dakota State drops into 2-3 zone. Agua Naiwesh will take the ball from Ladarius Stanfield. Backdoor Stanfield trying for the alley-oop slam. It comes up a little short. It was contested underneath. And we'll see Dibimaka come out with a basketball for Dakota State. A drive by Pankinen. He'll turn it off towards the right side. Dibimaka back to Pankinen on the top of the key. Lost the basketball. Agua Naiwesh takes it away. Vikings on the break. Near side, Cleveland Bedgood off the left wing. He looks towards the top of the key and finds Caden Rickard. Back to Bedgood after the turnover. Stanfield in, Rickard out. Catch and shoot three. The Vikings have the lead. Caden Rickard steps into a three-point shot, knocks one down for the Vikings, and Valley City State, after forcing a couple of takeaways in the early going, has a 2-0 edge. Japjit Gill into the front court, finding Pankinen. They'll work to the top of the key. Akpan comes back to Gill. Pankinen left side, looking left corner. Coylton driving baseline, left the ball behind, has to go back to get it. He'll turn it back to the near wing and found Gill. A step in, back out Pankinen. Deep three, that's off the front of the rim. Rebound's going to trickle out of bounds, and Bedgood did get a piece of it. So say the officials. And the Vikings will end up sending this out of bounds. Dakota State will get it back. Off the offensive look, it'll be a 20-second shot clock reset. Japjit Gill will inbound the basketball for Dakota State. Gill looking, bounce pass underneath Coylton. Reverse layup lifted short. Rebound comes down with Hunter Lyman for Valley City State. Rickard into the front court, finding Agua Naiwesh. The Vikings leading 3-0. How about 6? There's a three. Comes up short that time from Caden Rickard. He had the three to start the scoring tonight. Coylton will bring the ball back into the front court. Big dribbles, drives in. The Vikings try to sell a charge, and instead, Caden Rickard's going to be hit for a blocking foul, standing inside the semi-arc underneath the basket. Caden Rickard's first personal foul. And the Trojans are going to be on the foul line. I believe the Vikings thought this was on the floor, but they will send Mason Coylton to the foul line to take a couple of shots. 6'2", 250-pound junior out of Stockton, California, that puts one in to get his free throw shooting night started. When you watch Mason Coylton, he looks more like a linebacker or a defensive end than he does a basketball player. But obviously 2 of 2 from the foul line. Nice, easy touch. And the Vikings have the lead cut to 1, and he belongs on the basketball floor based on the look of those foul shots. Vikings now with a 1-point lead, at 3-2, and back into the front court. Cleveland Bedgood on the right sideline for Valley City State. Nywash asking for the basketball, but Bedgood will drive right. Now hits Lyman, spin move to his left hand, pulls up back with the right, trickles around and won't fall. Good look. Coylton comes down with a rebound for Dakota State. Trojans back into the front court of the basketball looking for the lead. They kick to the right side. Pankinen will leave it away. 3-point shot by Dibimaka. He drains from the right side. Uzo Dibimaka knocks down the first triple of the night for Dakota State, and the Trojans will take a 5-3 lead for their first lead tonight on our LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. Caden Rickard front court for the Vikings, off to Cleveland Bedgood right sideline. A reversal, Agua Nywesh on top. Nywesh looking for a screen, got one from Stanfield, drives, pulls up, scoop layup, rolls in and out. Coylton another rebound. He's had a big night rebounding for Dakota State. He'll leave it for Pankinen into the front court. Back top of the key for Coylton, who steps up on top, gets hemmed off by defensive pressure out of the Viking zone. It's turned back to Pankinen in the right corner. Pankinen with the shot clock half expired. Works back to Gill. Japjit Gill coming back right side. Back to Coylton on top. Spin move on Lyman. Fall away off the glass. High kiss, and he scores it. Mason Coylton using big steps with that big frame to move around and scores off the high glass. And the Trojans take a 2-possession lead. It's 7-3. A step up to the foul line. Bedgood popping the jumper and hitting it. Cleveland Bedgood picking up off the dribble and scoring. Vikings cut the lead to 2 at 7-5. Japjit Gill brings it back into the front court for Dakota State. Pankinen working back right side to Gill. Step up towards the top of the key, hit by the top of the zone. Reverses back to Pankinen on the left side. A stop, a look in. Coylton's in the high post, takes it, kicks it out. Here's Dibimaka for 3 out of the corner. That won't fall, and Hunter Lyman has the rebound for Valley City State. Nywesh into the front court. Vikings looking to tie or reclaim the lead. Bedgood left alone. He'll take a 3 for the lead and left it strong. And Coylton already with what I believe is his 4th rebound here tonight in this opening half of play. Ball in the front court and right to the basket. Dibimaka scores, late whistle and a foul. Dibimaka is going to have a chance at a 3-point play. Hunter Lyman's defense coming over a bit late, made some contact, and Lyman has his first foul tonight. We'll see a change by the Vikings as Odair Olayang will come into the front, or actually into the game. A 6'6 junior out of St. Cloud, Minnesota. Hunter Lyman picking up the foul will take a seat. And we'll see foul shots coming up, or a foul shot, I should say, for Uzo Dibimaka for Dakota State. He's a lefty and he hits it. A 3-point play completed. And now a change made by Dakota State. Calvin Payne. He's a 6'4 junior from Melbourne, Australia. That will come into the matchup. Dakota State has also sent in Kenny Haynes, a 6'3 junior from Chicago, Illinois. Bedgood looks at a trap, leaves it up the floor for Agua Nywesh. A stop by Nywesh in the paint, reverses back to Bedgood on top. Rickard right side, Bedgood on top, Nywesh left wing. It's player to player, actually correction, this is zone. It's a 1-2-2 jug, it looks like, from Dakota State. To the basket, Stanfield scoring. They're going to count the basket. LaDarius Stanfield with a dribble into the middle of the lane. They'll count the bucket and the foul against Kenny Haynes. Stanfield's first 2 tonight to cut into the Trojan lead. It's trimmed back to 3. Stanfield will try to cut it to 2 with a bonus foul shot. And Dakota State enters Josh Lewis, 6' junior out of Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. So the Trojans playing deep early in the game. They're really trying to make sure they enter plenty of players as well to keep fresh. Stanfield knocks down the 3-point play. First foul shot made tonight for the Vikings. And it's a 2-point lead now for Dakota State at 10-8. The Vikings 2-1-2 trap, extending it way out to the foul line. A look inside and a pull up by Haynes with that left hand, just got right in the middle of the lane. The Viking defense kind of left him alone to his own devices. He scores and the Trojan lead back to 4. Rickard pick up foul shot jumper, knocks it down. Caden Rickard picking up off the dribble and scoring on the jump shot. And it cuts the Trojan lead back to 2 at 12-10. Trojans with Josh Lewis leading the charge. He gets a screen, sends it back to Pankinen, and it's picked off. Agua Nywesh up the floor, 2-on-2 break. Nywesh himself spinning back to the right, drew a bump, can't get the shot to go, but Agua Nywesh is on his way to the foul line. Foul will go against Josh Lewis. That'll be his first, and the second against Dakota State. Vikings set to make a change as Agua-Niwesh will find the foul line and look for a couple, looking to tie the game for the Vikings on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. Niwesh misses on the front end. The last time we talked with the head coach of the Vikings, Ryan Montgomery, he put a little pressure on Agua-Niwesh. He said, Agua-Niwesh is a good player. I believe in him, but if I'm going to play him, he has to produce for me. Niwesh with his second foul shot. That won't fall either. He goes 0 of 2 from the foul line. Usaino Nagome comes into the matchup, a 6'7 junior from Osseo, Minnesota. He'll enter for the first time as the Vikings make their changes, and now the Vikings drop into their signature 1-3-1 zone. Lewis with the basketball, working right side. He found Calvin Payne. Payne looks in, back to Lewis, top of the key. Had the ball knocked away as he entered the zone. It's on the floor. Olang rescues it, a turnover. Goes back to the Vikings. Cleveland Bedgood into the front court with a behind-the-back dribble. Rickard, catch and shoot three. Right wing is short. And the rebound comes down to Uhana Ochan, 6'7 senior out of Eagle Lake, Minnesota, making his first appearance. He was big for the Trojans last year. Lewis on the top of the key, leaving off to Pankinen to the left corner. Jumper on the way from the far corner. That's no good. Rebound, tap, putback also won't go. The tap putback was from Payne, and the first attempt came from Kenny Haynes out of the corner. Vikings back in the front court, still down 2. Little high-low game inside. Niwesh, well, actually it was Nagome that will turn it back out to the top, and Niwesh. Now right side, Cleveland Bedgood curls in, drives right. Foul coming up on the floor. It'll go against Dakota State. We'll see where the foul's going to go here. That will go against Kenny Haynes. That's going to be his second. So a little pain to the rotation here for Darren Tighe and Dakota State as Haynes, an early substitute, will have to come out of the game for a while. The Vikings will send in a couple of new players. We'll see Caden Grindy, 6'4 sophomore out of Spring Grove, Minnesota, a regular starter in the first half of the year for Valley City State. Niwesh will take the inbounds pass, looking for a screen from Olang, a stop. Back to Grindy right side, drives in, pulls up. High glass bank shot for Caden Grindy. And that's what you get when you're able to bring essentially a starter into the game off the bench. You can come up with some instant production like that. And the Vikings have tied the game at 12 apiece and drop back into their zone as the Trojans are back up front. Uzo Dibimaka off the right side of the floor looking. Japjet Gill kicks it in, comes back to the right side. It's taken there in the corner by Calvin Payne. Payne goes in, gets it back from Dibimaka. A stop by Payne in the right block. Dibimaka right corner, drew a defender on a bluff three, goes reverse layup and misses. And Odir Olang has the rebound for Valley City State. The Vikings looking to take the lead back. Grindy to the top of the key for Cleveland Bedgood. It's 12 apiece. Vikings and Trojans. Right side, Niwesh, open three, misses off the heel of the rim. Rebound comes down for Dakota State to Josh Lewis. And the Trojans are back up front. Japjit Gill coming back to Lewis. He's ridden in by Grindy, and a foul coming up. Grindy will pick up his first personal of the night. So a foul against Grindy, stopping up the penetration of Lewis. The return of Mason Coylton, who had a very good start to the night for Dakota State, rebounding the basketball. This one comes in on the right for Emmanuel Okpan, who's also an original starter, and Okpan has a shot blocked out of bounds. 13:07 to play, opening half. LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard reads 12 apiece. Vikings and Trojans tie matchup. Inbounds pass, Coylton, stuffed by Olang, got his own miss and puts it back. Missing Coylton with his 6th point tonight, and he's got a big rebounding night, as we mentioned. The lead goes back to the Trojans at 14-12. A drive, Bedgood, teardrop in the lane, hits it from 12 feet. That's so smooth for Cleveland Bedgood. Gets a little gap, floats his way in the lane, knocks down a jump shot. That ties the game up at 14 apiece. Lewis left side for Dakota State, looks into the corner. Haynes trying to go inside. Coylton stepping up on a Lang, little bump, pulls up, misses the hook shot. Rebound deflected to the far side. Bedgood has it and got fouled. Coylton was there. There was some early pressure as well before Dibimaka got out of the way, but it'll be missing Coylton that has his first personal foul. Vikings will make a change. Jerome Washington, a 6'5 junior out of Andover, Kansas, makes his way in for the first time to replace Agua-Niwesh. The Vikings and Trojans tied at 14. And the Vikings with the basketball looking to reclaim the lead. Nobody's led by more than 4 so far tonight. Correction, Dakota State had an early 5-point lead. A stop, Bedgood. Reversal back to the top, taken by Nagome. Foul line, Odir Olang given that shot. He misses it short. Rebound long to the perimeter, though. And Usaino Nagome comes up with the miss. He'll turn it back to Olang and back to Cleveland Bedgood on the top of the key. Bedgood working right, mid-range jump shot, just stepped inside the three-point line. Missed that one as well off the dribble, and Emmanuel Akpan pulls down the rebound for Dakota State. Trojans back up front. We're still tied at 14, 8 minutes in to the opening half. Lewis, Akpan to the right side. Jip Gill driving, has a shot blocked. Grindy looking to save it in bounds. Found Jerome Washington. Nice athletic play by Caden Grindy to save that possession. The Vikings back in the front court. Crossover drive, Bedgood couldn't get the shot to fall. He's harmed on the way in, and Cleveland Bedgood will go to the foul line. Foul will go against Japjit Gill. That'll be his first personal foul. And Cleveland Bedgood with 4, and a 91% foul shooter on the year finds his way to the foul line for Valley City State in a tie ball game, trying to crack the tie in the Vikings' favor. Bedgood's first is good. That'll give Bedgood 5 and a co-team high. Game high tonight for Misson Coylton and Uzo Dibimaka for Dakota State, each with 6. Vikings will send Caden Rickard back into the matchup, and we'll see the second of 2 foul shots to be attempted by Cleveland Bedgood. Braden Pankinen makes his way back in for Dakota State. Bedgood automatic from the foul line, and will get a break as Agua Nywish will come in to replace him in that guard spot. 16-14, the Vikings reclaim a 2-point lead on our LaRue-Laco Financial scoreboard. Dibimaka will inbound to Japjit Gill. Gill a stop working right side. Braden Pankinen back to Gill. Left side of the floor, a stop for Dibimaka. Looks against that Viking high 1-3-1 zone. Pass over the top and headed deflected. Agua Nywish the takeaway. Up the floor with Oseno Nagome. Goes to the glass and got fouled, and Oseno Nagome is on his way to the foul line. Nywish and Nagome leading a little 2-on-1 breakout after the turnover, and the foul is against Uzo Dibimaka. First against Dibimaka, and that'll bring a timeout to Dakota State with 11:23 left in the opening half. 16-14, the Trojans down by 2 to the Vikings on our LaRue-Laco Financial scoreboard. Timeout for Mobility Plus Rehabilitation. This is Viking basketball on KOVC.
Are you on the right financial path? Are all your financial professionals on the same page? At LaRue-Laco Financial, you can be assured that your investment professional and tax professional are working together. Call Ryan LaRue at 701-845-6938 or James M. Lockow at CPA 701-845-1660. Services offered through Investment Advisors, a division of Pro Equities Incorporated, a registered investment advisor, and securities offered through Pro Equities Incorporated, a registered broker-dealer and member FINRA and SIPC.
11:23 to play in the opening half of basketball tonight. Welcome back to the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse and Viking basketball on the Voice of the Vikings and the Voice of the Valley, KOVC. The Vikings with a 16-14 lead behind 6 points for Cleveland Bedgood and 5 for Caden Rickard. 6 apiece for Misson Coylton and Uzo Dibimaka for Dakota State University. It's been kind of a slugfest. Not quite a rock fight, but it's somewhere on the, I guess you can say, spectrum between a slugfest and a rock fight between these two. Lots of rebounding, lots of physical play, a lot of hands, zone defense by both. And when you see that in college basketball, will you stand up and take notice as to how the game's going to be played? Oseno Nagome was fouled before the timeout. He finds his way at the foul line for the Vikings, shooting 2. The first is no good, and the Vikings have had an inauspicious start from the foul line. Cleveland Bedgood, a 91% shooter, knocked down both of his, but the team is 3 of 6 from the foul line so far tonight. Nagome back of the line, looking to push that lead to 3, but he'll miss on the back end as well. And between Nagome and Nywish, 0 of 4 from the foul line here to get things moving tonight. The Trojans back into the front court, still within 2. Braden Pankinen comes back to Japjit Gill. He'll reverse it off towards the left side of the floor. Uzo Dibimaka back to Gill on the right side. A stop in the foul line. Dibimaka top of the key being chased by that zone. Trojans with a lot of ball movement against it, but it doesn't look like they have really a well-set plan. They attack the post. Ball knocked away, and Jerome Washington will take it back for Valley City State. Up the floor, Odiero Lang looking right side to Nywish. Baseline move and a stop. He'll play it back to Caden Rickard. Reversal to Washington, who can shoot the 3. He wants it, takes it, and hits it with a man in his face. Washington stepping into a three-point shot and knocking it down for Valley City State. Nice way to get his scoring started tonight. He had Dibimaka out there contesting the shot, hit it. Okpan pulls up with a hook shot in the lane and scores for Dakota State. Emmanuel Okpan with his first two, and the Viking lead trimmed back to 3 at 19-16 as we approach the halfway mark of the opening half. Ball on the right side of the floor. Agwaniwish got a screen from Olang. A stop as he curls to the foul line and kicks back to Caden Rickard, walking to his right. Back to Niwish. Head fake, drew a defender. Mid-range jumper off the dribble. It rolls around and comes in on the second look. Agwaniwish with his first two tonight. Ball hasn't wanted to go down for Agua, but he gets a shot to roll. And the Vikings are back up 5 at 21-16. Pankinen, right side to Japjit Gill into the corner. Uzo Dibimaka. Another attack of the post, and again, the Viking zone comes up with it. Here comes a foul as Uzo Dibimaka ended up with an arm on top of Caden Rickard fighting for the loose basketball, and Uzo Dibimaka has his second foul tonight. And that should put the Vikings at the foul line. That's the 7th team foul against Dakota State if our numbers are right, and they are. And Caden Rickard, the young man out of Fargo North High School, will walk the length of the floor and shoot foul shots to try to build on a Viking 5-point advantage. 21-16 with 9:50 to play in the opening half. Should have our media stoppage here, I believe. We've had just one 30-second timeout. First foul shot is on the way, and it's good for Caden Rickard. Or do they not take it before the 1-for-1 penalty? I might be a little confused as to how they enforce that. We'll see. Second foul shot coming up. Lead is 6. This for a 3-possession lead for Valley City State. It's on the way and good for Rickard. He's got 7. And it's now 23-16. Valley City State with a 7-point advantage. They've rallied from down 5 to take a 7-point edge here in the opening half, and the Trojans held to just 16 points in the first 10 minutes and change. Ball with Gill, near side Pankin in. A 3 off the left hand, missed it. Rebound tap back to the lane, picked up. A shot gets stuffed as it's pulled by Okpan. Ball goes loose on the floor. The Trojans get it back. Gill driving in with a teardrop. He'll hit that. Japjit Gill with his first 2 points on really kind of a fire alarm type of play. A lot of bodies everywhere once again. Vikings back in the front court with their lead cut to 5. Agwaniwish on the right side for the Vikings, looking for a screen. Gets one from Olang. Olang rolls. Niwish drives and traveled, trying to come to a stop in the lane. That pivot foot dragged with him. Changes for Dakota State. Josh Lewis. Correction. It'll be Calvin Payne that re-enters the game, along with Uhana Ochan. That will come back into the matchup. So Ochan and Payne re-enter for Dakota State. A chance for the Trojans to cut into a one-time 7-point Viking lead. That's currently down to 5. Japjit Gill looking inside, trying to enter that zone. Another ball poked away. Hunter Lyman poked it loose, and now a timeout taken by Dakota State with 8:57 left to go in the opening half to save the possession. 23-18, Vikings by 5 in the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. A timeout for Mobility Plus Rehabilitation. This is Viking basketball on the voice of the Vikings and the voice of the Valley, KOVC.
Rambo, a proud sponsor and fan of Viking Athletics, has been serving North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota with quality logoed apparel and promotional products since 1979. With online store options built to meet the needs of your company, organization, or team, Rambo will ensure that the process of ordering is easy and accurate and that your items are received on time. When you're ready to put your logo to work, give Matt a call at 701-680-9585. Rambo, we're in the business of making you look good.
Told the first time out was converted into a media stoppage. I did not see that take place, so my apologies, folks. 8:57 left of the opening half. 23-18, the Vikings with a 5-point lead. Dakota State with a basketball. Braden Pankinen on the top of the key with it, working left side. He'll turn it back to the left for Japjit Gill. Gill drives in, kicks out. Pankinen pulls the trigger for 3, and it's no good. Hunter Lyman comes up with a rebound for Valley City State and basically slaps a hand of Calvin Payne away from him, but now a whistle, and it looks like either a foul or a travel. I believe it's an illegal screen. It's going to be called against Usainu Nagom. Nagom will be called for his first personal foul, and will step out. Ladarius Stanfield will come back into the matchup for Valley City State. 23-18, the Vikings the 5-point lead. Game has become a bit stagnant offensively here as really neither team has been able to find a good roll for the last couple of minutes. Josh Lewis with that zone extending from Valley City State to very near the time stripe. Lewis being pressured near the stripe and near the sideline as well by the top of that zone. Payne right side, high court wide Pankinen in rhythm for 3 out of the left corner. Missed it off the heel. The rebound is tapped back to basket. It's still loose in the lane, and it comes back down inside for Yochana Ochan. He tried to go to the basket, lost the ball, and Cleveland Bedgood saves the ball in bounds for the Vikings. Bedgood back into the front court. Another teardrop in the lane. Count it. Nope. Wave it off. Now we'll see if it came before the charge. They're going to call Cleveland Bedgood for a charge. Did he get rid of the basketball first? Apparently he did not. So they will not count the basket, and Cleveland Bedgood will be called for his first foul, offensive, and the ball will go back to Dakota State University. Tough one to call in that situation, but they'll call it a charge. Payne has the ball knocked loose from behind. It's rescued. Kenny Haynes driving his way in, then fading away in the lane, and the shot ends up no good. Rebound is knocked out of bounds off of Agua Naiwesh, and it will stay Trojan basketball in the front court. I don't know if they still use that rule that way or not. It used to be in college basketball. If you got rid of the ball before the charge, the basket was good, even though you're going to get called for the foul. Here's a turnaround in the lane that comes in from Ochana Hochan, and he comes up empty with it. The rebound goes back to the Vikings, and we'll see a whistle and some hands on the floor that will turn into a foul against Dakota State. And from the body language that we're seeing here from the officials, it would appear that they're kind of, well, perhaps getting a little impatient with the way that the game is being played defensively. There's a lot of reaching, a lot of hands, a lot of zone, and they're trying to sort of set up a tempo here that's going to clean things up a little bit. Calvin Payne got called for the foul. It's the 8th against the Trojans, and again, Cleveland Bedgood at the line, shooting 1-for-1 penalty. First one's nothing but net, and Bedgood has 7. Again, Cleveland at one point over a 91% foul shooter this season, and you don't get to the numbers that he's produced without knocking down your foul shots, and he's had a great senior year for Valley City State. There's another. He's got 4 consecutive foul shots made, and the Viking leads back to 7 at 25-18. Josh Lewis front court for Dakota State, looking left side, finding his way to Braden Pankinen. They'll look towards the right corner. A look inside. Uchano Ochan trying to back his way in. They kick it out. 3 on the way by Braden Pankinen. Correction, that was taken by Calvin Payne, and Payne has his first 3 points tonight. Second 3 to go down for Dakota State. Viking lead cut to 4 at 25-21. Rickard catch and shoot for 3. That's off the front of the rim. Offensive rebound, though, to Grindy for the Vikings back in the game. And Valley City State goes back to work. Bedgood got a screen, steps into the elbow, pulls up on another floater, and he's got a 10-point first half. Bedgood's feeling it. 10 points for Cleveland Bedgood in the opening half. Lead back to 6 for the Vikings at 27-21. Payne inside to Ochan. The turn for the Trojans. Missed it. Lyman comes down with a rebound, but ended up on the baseline. Lyman says, hey, I was pushed. Official says nothing. And the Trojans will get it back. Misson Coylton will come back into the matchup for Uchana Ochan. Ryan Montgomery pleading his case with the official over on the baseline. And they're going to reset the shot clock to 20 seconds. And now we'll see the inbounds pass come in from Josh Lewis for Dakota State. And, boy, they're going to call a foul on the inbounds play against Grindy. This is starting to get really touchy. Caden Grindy with his second personal foul. 6th against the Vikings. So now the penalty both ways. And really starting to get called very, very quickly here. Lewis taking a look. Bounces one inside. Reverse layup good on the cut to the basket for Dakota State. That'll be scored by Kenny Haynes. He's got 4. Lead cut to 4 at 27-23. 6.5 minutes to go, opening half. Caden Rickard working right. He'll send it to Cleveland Bedgood on the wing. A stop. Lewis with some pressure, and this one's thrown away. That might have been intended for Lyman in the high post, but it was strong, and there was nobody on the backside. Lyman turns the confused look on his face to see if that was going his direction, and Odi Uralang will come onto the floor to take Lyman's spot in the post, and a chance for the Trojans to cut the lead to 2 or maybe 1. Pankinen looking out towards the near side for Josh Lewis. Back to Braden Pankinen on the left wing. Pankinen a stop off the dribble. Lewis into the right corner. A drive towards the right by Calvin Payne. Payne a stop, kick out. Pankinen stepping left off the dribble. Shot clock approaching 10. They go into the post. Kenny Haynes down low. They're able to find Coylton, and Misson Coylton scores his 8th of the opening half. Viking defense broken down. Really the best breakdown of the Viking zone so far tonight for the Trojans. The lead is 2, and now a ball deflected by Dakota State. It'll be won by Odi Uralang. He pulls up for a jumper for the Vikings. Missed it short. Misson Coylton running step for step with Ladarius Stanfield. Shovels one down low. Was able to find Haynes. Back to Coylton, and a deep 3 that comes up empty. The rebound, Odi Uralang for Valley City State. 2-point lead for the Vikings on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard, 27-25. Valley City State, Stanfield, 15-footer on the baseline, rolls in. LaDarius Stanfield popping a jump shot on the left baseline. Vikings back up to a 4-point edge at 29-25. Braden Pankinen, left side for Dakota State. Lewis off the right sideline. He'll work his way through the top of that zone and took a hit from behind from Caden Grindy. Grindy grimaces, takes a look at the near side official, and Grindy's going to come to the bench with what will be his third personal foul the opening half. And it's a tough loss for the Vikings in that position. As we mentioned, Caden Grindy, a regular starter first half of the year. You think that he can play significant minutes for you off the bench, but now with 3 fouls, that's probably going to bring his first half to a close. And we're going to see some foul shots for Dakota State. This will be the 1-for-1 penalty that'll be shot for the first time tonight by the Trojans. Still 5:05 to go in the opening half. At times, this has been a quick-moving first half. At times, it's kind of bogged down. We'll see Josh Lewis at the foul line. He's looking for his first production of the night. Lewis takes a look. Number 1 is good. Rattles around back and forth and finds its way through. And the Viking lead is trimmed to 3 at 29-26. And Lewis turns and takes a look at Kenny Haynes, his teammate, back in the backcourt for Dakota State, calling out a play. Second foul shot won't go. Rebound to Cleveland Bedgood. He gets stripped. And going to the basket, Braden Pankinen will score. And a putback. The Vikings lead has been cut to 1. Bedgood had the rebound, but Dakota State kept playing. Strips the basketball loose. Jerome Washington will be fouled on the near side. Missing Coylton will pick that one up, his second. Coylton turns, looks at the bench, and gives the thumb up. I believe that is to indicate that he knows he's got a second foul. And now the Vikings are going to huddle up on the foul line with their lead challenged to 1. And Jerome Washington will be the man shooting the foul shots. The Vikings have just 2 3-point shots in the opening half tonight as well. Washington's first foul shot is good. Jerome hit one of those. The other went to Caden Rickard for the first scoring of the game. Usainu Nagome will come on to replace LaDarius Stanfield for Valley City State. And the second of 2 foul shots for Jerome Washington is also good. Curiously, we haven't seen the Vikings' leading scorer tonight, the second leading scorer, Lamar Grayson, who's had a bench performance so far this year that's averaging well over double figures a game. Coylton spinning his way in the lane and scoring over the outstretched arms of Odair Lang. That's 10 for Missing Coylton on the night. And again, the Trojans are back within 1 at 31-30. Usainu Nagome giving to Cleveland Bedgood. Bedgood a stop on a curl. Back to Nagome on the top of the key. Agua Nywesh surveying his options. Pankinen comes out to defend him. Nywesh driving, leaves it back for Usainu Nagome, and he got a shot blocked from behind. Good reach back by Kenny Haynes to take it. Missing Coylton driving up the floor, had a window, and then had the ball poked loose. It works back to the wing. Lewis will turn it back to Pankinen. Back to Lewis on top. A head fake drew a defender. He looks in, kicks out. Haynes for 3 is up and off. Coylton has the rebound after fighting off Odair Lang. A kick out. Pankinen for 3 connects. Braden Pankinen with 5, and Dakota State regains the lead by 2. 33-31 Trojans on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard, and here comes the whistle and another offensive foul against Cleveland Bedgood. Second against Bedgood, and the ball will go back to Dakota State. It'll be a non-shooting foul, and Bedgood will have his minutes limited for the first half, and Ryan Montgomery wants an explanation as to why a couple of charging fouls have been called against Cleveland Bedgood. And meanwhile, the Vikings, now down by 2, have to get back defensively and see what they can get done for the last 3.5 minutes without their leading scorer. Missing Coylton in the left corner draws the defense from Cleveland, or actually rather from Caden Rickard. Ball near side of the floor, head fake by Japjet Gill. He'll turn it back out top of the key. Pankinen, wide open 3 for Missing Coylton. Comes up empty off the front of the rim, and Odair Lang, hands on him, comes down with a rebound. Agua Nywesh into the front court for Valley City State. Nywesh driving his way in the lane, lost the basketball, but Usainu Nagome got it. Jerome Washington for 3 is off the heel of the rim, and a rebound foul coming up. They're going to ticket Valley City State on this as well. I believe Agua Nywesh is going to be called for it, trying to reach over the back, or over, I should say, from the back to come up with a contact on the rebound. And Agua Nywesh will be called for his first personal foul. Each team now with 9, so it'll be the double penalty for both teams the rest of the way. And Ryan Montgomery asking for that official to come over as well. I think Ryan right now, the head coach of the Vikings, is thinking to himself that this has probably been called a little bit tighter against the Vikings than it's been called against Dakota State. Emmanuel Akpan is at the foul line for Dakota State. 1-for-1 penalty, first is good. And Akpan pushes the Trojan lead to 3 at 34-31. And based on the conversation we're seeing between Coach Montgomery and the official, he's pointing a lot at where the Vikings would rebound in this opening half, and I think that's what he's seen that has caused him some discomfort when the Vikings are being tagged on the opposite end of the floor, regular fashion. Lead is 4 as both foul shots for Akpan go down. 35-31, the Vikings down 4. Odier Olang a head fake to try to draw the defense from Ochana Ochan. They'll work back to the foul line. Nywesh cutting through defenders, left one short. Foul coming up. And Nywesh is going to find his way to the foul line. And this has been an ugly first half of play. Japjit Gill has his second. That's the 10th team foul against the Trojans. 19 fouls have been called in the opening half of basketball in 17 minutes and 8 seconds. Agua Nywesh at the foul line. His first is no good. And meanwhile, the Vikings, between Osenu Nagom and Agua Nywesh, are 0 of 5 from the foul line, and nobody else has missed one yet tonight. Second foul shot also no good, and that one missed badly. So Nywesh 0 of 4 from the foul line tonight. 2 points, ball knocked out of bounds as it's brought back up by Japjit Gill. It will stay Dakota State University basketball. Trojans continue to lead by 4 at 35-31. Japjit Gill takes the inbounds pass. Coming back towards the right, he's cut off by Agua Nywesh. Steps back, finds Braden Pankinen for Dakota State. Deep three by Pankinen, and he hits it from 6 feet beyond the top of the key. Braden Pankinen now with 8, and the lead is 3 possessions for Dakota State. 38-31 Trojans on the LaRue Locker Financial scoreboard with 2:25 to go. Nywesh right side, Rickard for 3, nibbles around, won't fall. Nywesh an O board, gets it back, kicks it out. Washington for 3, that one strong. Another O board by Osenu Nagom. Top of the key Olang, Caden Rickard, and the Vikings go back to work. Nywesh on the near side. Looking with the defensive Pankinen giving him his left hand. He'll work back to Osenu Nagom from the foul line, picking up off the dribble. That nibbles and won't fall. The Vikings 0 of 3 at the basket in that sequence, the lid on, and Japjit Gill brings it back up front for Dakota State. They can go up 9 or 10 on this possession. Pankinen to Gill, right side, 3 on the way by Dibimaka. It's strong, rebound saved in bounds, deflected, and Caden Rickard comes away with it for Valley City State. He's down numbers as he brings it up front for the Vikings, and Washington traveled, stepping out of 3 and then moving back to the top of the key. Clock down to 1 minute and 40 seconds left to go in the first half that for the Vikings cannot end fast enough. Foul trouble, missed shots. The shooting percentage will be woeful for Valley City State in the first half, and it has nothing to do with the shots they're taking. They've executed the plays they're supposed to. There are just some nights where it doesn't go down, and the Viking defense has tried to respond, but the foul trouble has put them in a place where they've got to let Dakota State operate a little bit when the Trojans bring it into the front court. Time for probably 4 possessions left. Lewis to the foul line for Uchana Ochan. He goes to the basket and scores off the glass. Uchana Ochan with his first 2, and the lead is now 9 for the Trojans at 40-31. 1 minute 20 left to go here in the opening half. Stop. Rickard handing off to Washington. Odier Olang taking it to the foul line and reversing to Agua Nywesh. Nywesh stepping left, pulls up off the dribble for 3 and missed it. Rebound goes loose, and Braden Pankinen comes away with the basketball for Dakota State. The clock will tick into the final minute of the opening half on this possession. Josh Lewis stepping up towards the left wing. Washington comes out to get him. A look, bounce pass down low to Ochana Ochan. Out to Pankinen, who pulls the trigger for 3, and it's no good. And the rebound to Odier Olang for Valley City State. 45 seconds to go opening half. Nywesh right side for Rickard. Jerome Washington right corner. Steps in, teardrop, missed it. He'll go to the line. Fouled in the act of shooting. Again, plenty of minutes being played down the stretch here without Cleveland Bedgood in the lineup. Foul's going to be called, I believe, against Calvin Payne, if I'm not mistaken. It was Calvin Payne that picked it up. And Jerome Washington to the stripe. 2 of 2 from the line tonight for Washington. He's got 5, hit a 3 earlier, and that one will roll off. And the Viking foul shooting mediocre at best here tonight. 9 of 16 from the foul line for the Vikings, if my unofficial numbers are right. Washington knocks down the back end, cuts the Trojan lead to 8 at 40-32, down to 40 seconds remaining here in the opening half. Lewis right side, into the corner. Calvin Payne cut off by Caden Rickard. They'll go into Yochana Ochan. Spin move on Olang and draws a foul. Odair Olang will be called for his first. That whistle was coming as the spin move was happening, and Odair Olang, a long look back, but no real protest, but a very, very tightly called. That's the 20th foul in the first half of basketball tonight. Ochan's first foul shot is strong off the heel of the rim, and it remains an 8-point lead for the Trojans at 40-32. Japjit Gill comes back into the matchup, and we'll also see Emmanuel Okpan coming back into the game for Dakota State. Ochan back at the line. Number 2 is on the way. That one rattles off, and the rebound to Odair Olang. Shot clock's turned off. The Vikings have the basketball. Agua Naiwesh into the front court for Valley City State. Vikings would love to cut this to 2 possessions and hold on. Caden Rickard in the circle with the basketball. Looking towards his right side, he's given plenty of space. The Vikings will play for 1. Caden Rickard sets down the dribble with 11 seconds to go. Sends it back to Agua Naiwesh on the right sideline. Naiwesh using the hip for separation. Jump stop in the lane. Olang from the foul line. Jumpers off the heel. Rebound brought down by the Trojans, and that's the end of the opening half. And the Vikings could not buy a jump shot late or a foul shot late. And with the lid on the basket, the Vikings find themselves down 8 at the end of the opening half. As we go to our halftime report, presented by Rambo. We're in the business of making you look good. Rambo is in charge of all of your promotional products. When it's time for apparel, when it's time for other promotional items, you need Rambo to promote your business or team. Rambo, we're in the business of making you look good. At the end of a half of play, your score, Dakota State 40, Valley City State 32. This is Viking basketball on the voice of the Vikings and the voice of the Valley, KOVC.
This is Dr. Ryan Lorenz, physical therapist at Mobility Plus Rehabilitation, with offices in Enderlin, Lisbon, Gwinner, and Valley City. Our mission is to provide exceptional physical and occupational therapy by highly skilled therapists to minimize pain and maximize mobility, which quickly allows you to return to the quality of life you desire. We will evaluate and educate you on your condition, review treatment options, and create an effective treatment plan to solve your impairments based on your unique situation and needs. I invite you to call our offices at Mobility Plus today.
Why choose professional eye care centers? Let me count the whys. First, there are now 4 great doctors to see. Dr. Frank, Dr. Freilich, Dr. Jangula, and now welcoming Dr. Bond. Next is their many locations. You can now see one of their spectacular doctors in Jamestown, Valley City, Carrington, Edgeley, Ellendale, and Lemoore. And finally, their fantastic frame selection. And yes, all of their frames and lenses are backed up by warranty. Visit ProEyeCareCenters.com and make an appointment today. Professional Eye Care Centers, clearly the best.
Grotberg Electric believes in quality first, taking pride in the work and standing behind every project they do. They bring together the power, technology, and experience to keep your business online. The success of Grotberg Electric depends on 3 major ideals: the quality of their products, the commitment to their customers, and most of all, their customer service. Call Grotberg Electric today at 845-3010 or visit them online, grotbergelectric.com.
Lever's Foods, best quality, best price. Lever's Foods, best service, they're nice. Lever's Foods, they make everything right. Lever's Foods.
All this. Your only locally owned pharmacy since 1989. When you're locally owned, you care about your community and your customers. We offer a great selection of gifts and toys, as well as yarns, fabrics, sewing, and crafting. We are here for you from 9 to 5:30 weekdays and Saturdays 9 to 1. For all your pharmaceutical needs, give us a call, 845-5280.
Health Mart, taking time to listen and care.
Sanford Health of Valley City is dedicated to transforming your healthcare experience and providing access to world-class healthcare right here in America's heartland. We're committed to improving the human condition at every stage of life through exceptional care, spiritual enhancement, innovation, and discovery. Schedule your appointment today at Sanford Health of Valley City by calling 701-845-6000 or self-schedule online at mysanfordchart.org. Sanford Health, here for all, here for good.
ahead.
Hi, I'm Corey Anderson, a proud Viking graduate and executive director for University Advancement at VCSU. I'm thankful to live and work in a community that values our amazing university and cherishes education as a blessing and a gift. There are few gifts as important as those that help students fulfill their educational goals. Your scholarship contributions do just that. Help keep us moving forward by supporting the V500 scholarship program today. A gift for a student is a gift for our community. To find easy ways to give, visit give.vcsu.edu.
Viking basketball tonight, and the voice of the Vikings and the voice of the Valley, KOVC. It was kind of a first half that's worth forgetting, as the Vikings trail by a score of 40-32 at the end of the first half of play. No less than 20 fouls were called in the opening half of play. I just want to make sure that we've got the numbers correct. It was 21 fouls that were called in the opening half of play, 11 on Dakota State, 10 on Valley City State, but a lot of stoppages of play, a lot of herky-jerk action, a lot of foul shots that the Vikings didn't hit, and a lot of jump shots that the Vikings didn't hit. The Vikings shot 35.7% the opening half to Dakota State's 40.5%, and it would be interesting to know what the Vikings shooting percentage is with Cleveland Bedgood on the floor and without him. And we can probably get a look at that. Cleveland Bedgood was 3 of 5 in the opening half, so right now the Vikings 10 of 28. They would be 7 of 23 without him on the floor. And, you know, my quick math tells me that that's, what, about 30%, right? 7 of 23? Yeah, it's less than 30% without Cleveland Bedgood on the floor. So it was a tough finish after Cleveland Bedgood picked up his second foul and had to be withdrawn. And without the leading scorer for the Vikings out on the hardwood, the Vikings struggled to find some offensive opportunities, and they currently trail by 8 by a score of 40-32. Your halftime report is brought to you by Rambo. We're in the business of making you look good. Rambo is here for you with your promotional products for your team or for your business. Make sure that you're ready to promote your brand with Rambo, with great promotional apparel and products. So here's what we have for you in this opening half. The Vikings built up as much as a 7-point lead in the first half of basketball, but Dakota State led by 9 down the stretch. Some real swings, and it had to do with Cleveland Bedgood finding himself in foul trouble and some missed foul shots for the Vikings as well. The Vikings shot 10 of 17 from the free throw line in the first half. That's 58.8%. And again, if you take Cleveland Bedgood out of that, who was 4 of 4, the team finds themselves at 6 of 13 from the free throw line, and that's barely 50%. That's not even 50% shooting from the foul line. So a really, really tough first half for the Vikings all the way around that they've got to try to remedy. Defensively, not a bad first half. Once they got in foul trouble, Dakota State had a chance to sort of ramp things up on the offensive end. The Vikings did force 8 turnovers, then had to back off. They were doing well in the turnover category early, but the foul trouble began to mount up, and that changed their defensive plan, and Dakota State able to take advantage of that as well to move out to the 40-32 lead. Individual numbers that we have for you. Misson Coylton leads the way for Dakota State, 10 points. 8 points for Braden Pankinen, 6 for Uzo Dibimaka. And from there, we've got a host of other scoring. 4 points for Emmanuel Lockpan and Kenny Haynes. Calvin Payne with the 3. Japjit Gill with 2. And Uhana Ochan also with 2 points in the opening half for Dakota State. For the Vikings, Cleveland Bedgood, 10 points. And then on the bench at the end of that half, Caden Rickard with 7. Jerome Washington with 6. Ladarius Stanfield with 5. 2 each for Caden Rindy and Agua Nywesh. And Agua Nywesh was 0 of 4 from the free throw line as far as the other numbers were concerned in that opening half. For Dakota State, 7 rebounds for Misson Coylton to go along with his 10 points. You mentioned he got off to a really good start rebounding the basketball. Emmanuel Lockpan had 5 rebounds to go with his 4 points. For the Vikings, 6 rebounds in the opening half for Odi Uralang. Did not score, but 6 rebounds, a really nice number for Odi Uralang, getting it done on the glass here tonight. And 4 rebounds for Hunter Lyman, who's also looking for his first points of the night. That's your halftime summary, and it's brought to you this evening on KOVC and Viking basketball by Rambo. We're in the business of making you look good. Again, at the half, the Vikings trail by a score of 40-32 to Dakota State in the opening matchup in conference play of the year. The Viking women were topped tonight by the number 13 ranked team in the country from Dakota State, a final score of 104-67, and Dakota State ran their record to 14-4, and they're now 2-0 inside North Star Athletic Association play. Got more on the way. We'll talk about what we have coming up next, including another run-in with conference basketball coming up tomorrow. So do stay with us. The Viking men trail 40-32 to Dakota State here at the halftime break, presented by Rambo. This is Viking basketball on the voice of the Vikings and the voice of the Valley, KOVC.
When you're craving the taste of juicy, flavorful, locally sourced beef and pork, look no further than your locally owned Valley Meat Supply. At Valley Meat Supply, we take pride in bringing you the finest cuts of beef and pork straight from local producers. So whether you're planning a mouth-watering barbecue or a cozy family meal, choose Valley Meat Supply for the highest quality, locally grown beef, pork, and award-winning jerky, sticks, and sausage. Valley Meat Supply, West Main, Valley City. Your taste buds will thank you.
Are you on the right financial path? Are all your financial professionals on the same page? At LaRue Lockout Financial, you can be assured that your investment professional and tax professional are working together. Call Ryan LaRue at 701-845-6938 or James M. Lockout at CPA 701-845-1660. Services offered through Investment Advisors, a division of Pro Equities Incorporated, a registered investment advisor, and securities offered through Pro Equities Incorporated, a registered broker-dealer and member FINRA and SIPC.
Every body is different. Some experience injuries, while others need extra support.
I'll help you, Grandma.
At Jamestown Regional Medical Center, your health is what matters most. Our orthopedics and sports medicine team care for you and your unique needs. Their goal is to help you live your best life. Choose Jamestown Regional Medical Center for care of hips, shoulders, knees, and broken bones. Learn more at jrmcnd.com/orthopedics.
Why choose professional eye care centers? Let me count the whys. First, there are now 4 great doctors to see. Dr. Frank, Dr. Freilich, Dr. Jangela, and now welcoming Dr. Bond. Next is their many locations. You can now see one of their spectacular doctors in Jamestown, Valley City, Carrington, Edgeley, Ellendale, and Lemoore. And finally, their fantastic frame selection. And yes, all of their frames and lenses are backed up by warranty. Visit ProEyeCareCenters.com and make an appointment today. Professional eye care centers, clearly the best.
Grotberg Electric believes in quality first, taking pride in the work and standing behind every project they do. They bring together the power, technology, and experience to keep your business online. The success of Grotberg Electric depends on 3 major ideals: the quality of their products, the commitment to their customers, and most of all, their customer service. Call Grotberg Electric today at 845-3010 or visit them online, grotbergelectric.com. Welcome back to the W.B. Osmond Fieldhouse. Live coverage of Viking basketball tonight on the voice of the Vikings and the voice of the Valley, KOVC. The Vikings trailing 40-32 to Dakota State University in men's play at the end of the first half. Foul trouble and shooting trouble for the Vikings, leading to some tough times for Valley City State in the first half of the first game of conference play this season. Now, I want to remind every one of you that's out there that we had some weather developments that came up tonight. As of around just after 6 o'clock tonight, the National Weather Service issued a winter weather advisory, and it's for all of our listening area. That would be basically east of Highway 281. It doesn't include Stutzman County, but it's kind of the dividing line that's out there. Barnes County, Cass County, Ransom Sargent, Richland, Steele, and Trail and Griggs all involved in this winter weather advisory. Snow and blowing snow. They're expecting just a couple of inches of snow, but winds as high as 40, and they say that we're going to deal with visibility reductions down to a half mile, brief reductions as low as a quarter of a mile, low wind chills down to 35 below zero. Road conditions going to get slippery, and widespread blowing snow could significantly reduce visibility. So again, travel's going to be difficult, and it looks like travel will be difficult into and through tomorrow, at least until the evening hours. Travel could be a problem out there. So keep that in mind as you plan out your travel plans. Now, the latest road map that we have in North Dakota, as far as the road conditions, doesn't really show a whole lot of problems around here. Some snow-covered roads just south of Devil's Lake. Everything around us is reported to be in good winter driving condition right now, but some probabilities of things deteriorating. There is a travel alert that's out right now in the north central part of the state. Wells County would be involved. That's the Harvey area. And then points to the west and north of that are currently in that travel alert. This may stay to the north of us. It may not be that big a deal, but again, they've issued it for the region. They take it all the way down to the South Dakota line from the Canadian border. So lots of things there that we're having to try to keep up with at this point. But that's the latest that we have in the weather conditions. We'll keep you up to date with the latest as things unfold here on KOVC. Tonight, 40-32 at halftime. The Trojan men leading the Vikings by 8 as we get ready for second half basketball. Stick around. Our post-game report will select our Player of the Game award. It's brought to you by Ivy Real Estate Group. Ivy Real Estate Group is saluting the hometown team. Ivy Real Estate Group selects a Player of the Game award after every Highliner and Viking athletic contest that we have here on KOVC, and it's brought to you by Ivy Real Estate Group, your only locally owned real estate brokerage in Valley City. See if the Vikings can get Cleveland Bedgood back on a roll, and we'll see if the Vikings can find scoring outside of Cleveland Bedgood. They've got to do two things there, and they're kind of antithetical to one another. When you see Cleveland Bedgood go on the shelf and the offense really comes to that kind of a grinding halt, that's a problem. And obviously, when you lose your best scorer, you're going to suffer a setback. But what the Vikings suffered in that opening half when Bedgood went on the shelf due to foul trouble was a tremendous setback. The balance that they know they have didn't really materialize that way. The Vikings will have the basketball to start half number 2. Inbounds play will come in from Ladarius Stanfield. Scoreboard is situated, and now we're ready. Stanfield stands ready. Caden Rickard will step into the front court with the basketball and run away with the Vikings down 8 at 40-32. Aguaniwish, little flex motion. Cleveland Bedgood stops. Stanfield from the foul line. Turnaround jump shot good for Ladarius Stanfield. The Vikings decide to attack the Dakota State zone from the heart of it. They score to cut the lead to 6 at 40-34. Bounce pass inside. Coylton with the basketball for Dakota State. Going back to Japjit Gill. It works back into the corner. Turned by Coylton on the block. Ends up losing it out of bounds. Coylton put it off the back of the backboard, says the Vikings. The official agrees with them. Coylton thought that had been knocked out of bounds by Valley City State, but the Vikings will get it, and the Trojans line up to go into some trapping pressure defense. The inbounds pass comes into Rickard. He looks quickly up the floor. Bedgood, left side, Aguaniwish. Niwesh, the Euro to the basket. He scores on a finger roll over the front of the rim. That's the Aguaniwish we're looking for the Vikings. And quickly, the lead has been cut in half. It's 40-36, the Trojans with a 4-point advantage. Ball on the right side with Dibi Maka. Maka takes it on the right sideline. Bounce pass down low. Coylton reverse. Kicking out. This is a 3 by Pankinen. Fills but won't fall. And Caden Rickard has the rebound for Valley City State. Quick outlet pass to Bedgood in transition. He'll Euro into the lane. Whistle. Another offensive foul. Ryan Montgomery grimaces and goes down to the floor. He's told by assistant coach Tim Wagner that's the third on Cleveland Bedgood. And just like that, only a minute into the second half, Bedgood will have to come out with his third foul. Jerome Washington comes in to replace him. But tonight, the one thing that you can say is that when Cleveland Bedgood has made that play, he's been called for an offensive foul. Whether you like it or not, it's been consistent that way. And the Vikings struggling to adjust to it. Coylton, spin move to the basket, finger roll for missing Coylton. He's got a dozen points. And the lead is back to 6 for the Trojans at 42-36. Now, Washington coming in is a signal for the Vikings because he's a three-point shooter. Rickard inside to Stanfield, ball strip foul. There's going to be some contact as Ladarius Stanfield got tied up on the foul line. This will go against Emmanuel Okpan. First on Okpan, and the Vikings will re-inbound the basketball. And once again, what we see going on here, we've already had 2 fouls called in a minute and 24 seconds, and we had 21 fouls called in the opening half. So the team saying this is the way we're going to play, the officials saying this is how we'll call it. Aguaniwish behind the back dribble, picks it up from the foul line, jump shot rolls in. Aguaniwish with 6. He's a man that can score. They believe in him at Valley City State, and he may be the man to pick up the slack with Bedgood on the bench. Lead cut to 4 at 42-38, Dakota State, with 18:15 to play second half. Ball to the right corner. Head fake out of that right corner by Dibi Maka. He'll look into the foul line. A turn. Emmanuel Okpan back to Dibi Maka. Head fake drew a defender. Dibi Maka from 12 on the baseline. Hits the mid-range jumper. He's got 8. That lead back to 6 for Dakota State at 44-38. Travel coming up. Aguaniwesh coming to a stop on the far sideline, and he wants to talk over the traveling violation, but there are some points in the game tonight where you'd be tempted to say this has been a little bit over officiated. That's not a call that you see all the time, but we saw it there. Ball goes back to the Trojans, into the basket. Coylton going in for a lay-in, and Hunter Lyman slapped it off the glass, and he'll be called for goaltending. Missing Coylton will pick up his 14th point, and the lead is back to 8 at 46-38 in favor of the Vikings. Lyman's going to step off the floor as Odie Uralang will come back in. The Vikings are struggling to try to defend missing Coylton right now. Coylton's not an overly tall player, but he's made some things happen in the post tonight. Aguaniwesh to the right side, Washington. Niwesh, left side, Caden Rickard, baseline drive. Pulls up from 10 feet in the teardrop, hits it. Caden Rickard with 9. Vikings back to within 6 at 46-40. Inbounds pass to Japjit Gill for Dakota State. Gill steps up front, draws the top of that zone defense, works his way out of trouble. Braden Pankinen on the near side for the Trojans. Back to Japjit Gill, tries to step around the top of that defense. Pankinen's left alone for 3, hits it. Braden Pankinen on the left side knocks down his 11th point, lead to 9 at 49-40 for Dakota State. Left side, Niwesh taking a look for the Vikings. Odie Uralang comes over to set a screen. Niwesh uses it both directions and reverses to Olang on the top of the key. Olang from the foul line, jumper good. Odie Uralang with his first scoring tonight. Lead cut to 7 at 49-42, but the Vikings need a stop in the worst way. Japjit Gill up front, Pankinen to the left wing, finding Okpan. Back to Pankinen. Inside, the ball kicked out. Pankinen to Okpan. Underneath, they scored a missing Coylton. Coylton's got 16. He scores inside, and the Vikings are being beaten alive in the interior of their zone tonight by missing Coylton. Jerome Washington driving. He pulls up on a teardrop, and here comes a whistle and an offensive foul. And I don't know that I like that one at all. Jerome Washington's going to be called for the offensive foul, and Ryan Montgomery, I don't believe, is happy. That defender was way late coming over to set his position on that, and I'd like to see it again, I guess. They were outside of the semi-arc, so that's not going to come into play, but it really seemed like the defensive player for Dakota State was a little late getting to his position, and there was a moment of indecision there before it was called an offensive foul. And right now, this one's turning into really pro defense as far as trying to set a position here. Coylton kicks one out towards the top of the key. Ball picked up by Calvin Payne. It works in the left corner. Kenny Haynes driving. He'll go double clutch to the basket and score. Kenny Haynes with 6. And the Trojans take an 11-point lead, 53-42 over Valley City State. 4 minutes into the second half of play. Aguaniwesh working right side. Washington back to Niwesh, cutting, hard take, looks inside. Now Dakota State, oh wow. Is this out of bounds? It'll be out of bounds. It looked like the call was a charging foul. This will be out of bounds. That one really would have been something that would have been questionable. It looked like they had called an offensive foul on the dribble penetration. We're going to see a change by the Vikings as entering the game for Valley City State will be Osenu Nagome. He'll come in a position out on the perimeter, and now a travel coming up against missing Coylton of Dakota State. Like I said, there's a call every time we go up and down the floor here. This really has had some of the air taken out of it tonight, and I don't think the game has been that poorly played, but it really has seen its share of calls tonight. Aguaniwesh on the left side for the Vikings. Screen for help, kick out. Rickard's left alone for 3, and Rhythm hits it. Caden Rickard, big three-point shot. Rickard's got 12, and the Vikings have cut the lead back to 8 at 53-45. Caden Rindy comes in next dead ball. He had 3 fouls off the bench in the opening half, and now an offensive foul the other way. So the Vikings will adjust and take the play that way. Aguaniwesh kisses a shoulder down from missing Coylton, and Coylton's going to be called for his 3rd personal foul. And that's going to put missing Coylton on the bench for Dakota State, and we'll see if the Vikings make hay with the leading scorer for Dakota State bench-ridden. It'll be Yochana Ochan that comes back onto the floor for Dakota State, but the Vikings come back into the front court trailing by 8. Aguaniwesh, she'll kick out to Rickard on the top of the key. Caden Grindy back in, has it to the foul line for Osenu Nagome. Inside, Odie Uralang turning, stepping away from pressure. Grindy's left alone for 3, that's well off. Rebound comes back underneath to Braden Pankinen, and Pankinen will lead the Trojans back into the front court. Pankinen underneath, bounce pass to Ochan, that's out of bounds off of Niwesh, and this will be Trojan basketball. 14:52 left second half on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard, 53-45. The Trojans leading by 8 with a basketball. We'll see the ball coming in from Josh Lewis. Ball fake, Ochan to the near side of the floor. Braden Pankinen, couple of crossover dribbles. Drindy trying to cut him off. Pankinen stops in the foul line. Kicks out to the near side. A head fake by Payne. He works back to the right for Kenny Haynes. Fall away on the baseline. Good. Kenny Haynes will score his 8th. And the lead is back to 10 for the Trojans at 55-45. Caden Grindy into the front court for Valley City State. Olang right baseline, picked up by Oseno Nagom, and he left a jump shot well short from about 8 feet. Here come the Trojans again. Ball in the front court with Josh Lewis. He'll hand it off on the right for Calvin Payne, and a 3 on the way by Pankinen. Well short. Odier Olang holds off Yochano Ochan for a rebound. Grindy underneath Nagom. Reverse layup. Count it 1 for Oseno Nagom. Great play by Nagom, who got hip checked and had the legs taken out underneath as he went to the basket, but got enough of a finger roll to coax that one through. Kenny Haynes has his 3rd foul and a chance for Oseno Nagom to finish a 3-point play. And for the first time tonight, we're going to see Lamar Grayson, 6-foot junior out of Richfield, Minnesota. And I'm not sure why Grayson didn't get minutes in the opening half. He is a double-digit scorer off the bench, but will come into the game now, and the Vikings could use that effort as Nagom knocks down the free throw to complete the 3-point play and cut the Trojan lead to 7. 55-48, the Trojans by 7 on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. Payne off the right side, handing off to Japjit Gill. This works back to the right side for Calvin Payne. Yochana Ochan trying to back down Nywesh. His shot's missed. His second effort blocked by Olang, and Olang comes down with a rebound. Nywesh into the front court. A transition 3 for Nywesh that's off the heel. Oseno Nagom can't get it to roll down on an offensive look. Rebound deflected out of bounds. It will stay Viking basketball in the front court. It's been that kind of night for the Vikings. Even when they've been close, the rim doesn't want it to go in. A couple of looks like that in the opening half, and here they are again in the second half with a putback that should have went down. Lamar Grayson takes the inbounds pass. Nywesh back to Grayson on the top of the key. Grayson moving right, sneaking, bounce pass, Olang into the right block. He'll step back out on the perimeter, now works his way back in against Ochan. The turn, had the ball knocked away and a foul. Yochana Ochan's going to pick it up. See if it's body or arm. Going to say it's a hit. Yochana Ochan with his first. That'll be the 4th team foul against Dakota State, and they'll rule that this was on the shot. So Odier Olang is going to go to the foul line for the Vikings and attempt 2 shots. And the first foul shot on the way for Ochan is good. Odier Olang. The foul went on Ochan, my apologies. Odier Olang now with 3. Lead cut to 6, back to a 2-possession game. Now it's 5 as Olang knocks down both ends, 55-50. Lead cut to 5, Dakota State with the lead. They've led by as many as 11 here in the second half. A stop, Yochana Ochan on the top of the key, pressured by Oseno Nagom. Ball comes back near side, Payne will give it away to Japjit Gill. Gill moving towards the right, got around Agua Nywesh, pulls up on a jump shot and trickles in. That's a tough shot for Japjit Gill. He had Nywesh in great position to contest that shot. It rolls through, and the lead is now 7 once again for Dakota State at 57-50. Lamar Grayson leaves the dribble behind, picks it back up, works himself towards the left, kicks underneath. Olang underneath, going hard to the basket, draws a foul. And Odier Olang is on his way back to the line for the Vikings. If it's Yochana Ochan, it is not. It'll go against, I believe, Calvin Payne. That'll be his 3rd. So right now, Yochana Ochan has 1. Missin Coylton, who's their leading scorer, with 3. He's bench-ridden. Cleveland Bedgood is on the bench for the Vikings with 3 as well. Foul shot for Olang won't fall. And we'll see the return for Dakota State of Uzo Dibimaka. He comes back into the matchup to replace Payne, who just picked up that 3rd foul. Payne's night off the bench has 3. 57-50, Trojans by 7. And the second foul shot for Olang rattles and comes in off a double kiss off the glass. Not exactly textbook, but we'll take it. And Olang has 5. 57-51. Vikings have cut the lead to 6. Ball on the top of the key for Dibimaka. He'll work right side for Jip Gill. Back to Uzo Dibimaka, working off a curl on his left hand. Sends it back to the top of the key. Josh Lewis lost the basketball. Grindy picks it up. Odier Olang in transition. He's going to go hard to the basket himself. Blocking foul. That's in the semi-arc as Olang tried to take those drop steps down the lane. And one of the Trojans that got in his way is down. And this may actually be Jip Gill. Gill struggles to get up. It looks like he's going to be okay, and Jip Gill is going to pick up his third foul as well. And now Darren Teig has to make a very difficult decision. And it looks like the injury to Jip Gill is not one that you want to speak of. Let's just say that Odier Olang going down the lane may have had a bit of a knee that came high, and Jip Gill took the worst of it and was struggling to get off the floor. There's a lot of chuckles in the crowd right now, and I'm telling you folks, that's not worth laughing about. Let me just tell you. Odier Olang knocks down the front end. Olang was hitting the act of shooting. He's got 6, and here come the changes. Misson Coylton's back in the matchup. We'll see Emmanuel Akpin back in the matchup as well. And coming in to replace the injured Gill was Braden Pankinen for Dakota State. Cleveland Bedgood re-enters for Valley City State. So the Vikings will have Bedgood on the floor along with Lamar Grayson. Their top 2 scorers are back in the matchup now for Valley City State. And Odier Olang is waiting for the basketball to try to cut the Trojan lead back down to 4. Second foul shot is on the way, and that one rolls in for Odier Olang. And Olang is beginning to slowly turn it on from the foul line. He's now 5 of 6 from the foul line, but a nice night with 7. And the Vikings have cut an 11-point lead to 4 at 57-53. Josh Lewis on the right side for Dakota State. Braden Pankinen off the right wing, handing back off on top. This will go back to Uzo Dibimaka. Inside, Misson Coylton. Coylton trying to back his way down, now faces up on Odier Olang. Blocked off, double pivot, kick out. Head fake, ball comes back to Dibimaka. His shot blocked, but Coylton got the loose miss and puts it back for his 18th, and a timeout taken by Dakota State with 12 minutes left to go in the second half. Trojans back up 6. It's 59-53 in favor of Dakota State over Valley City State on our LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. Timeout for Mobility Plus Rehabilitation. This is Viking basketball on the voice of the Vikings and the voice of the Valley, KOVC.
Lever's Foods, best quality, best price. Lever's Foods, best service, they're nice. Lever's Foods, they make everything right. Lever's Foods.
All this week at Lever's Foods in Valley City, save big on Campbell's chicken noodle or tomato soup, 4 for $4.68. General Mills cereal, 2 for $6.88. Idaho russet, North Dakota red, or yellow potatoes, just $1.99 for a 5-pound bag. And boneless pork sirloin chops, only $2.49 a pound. Delivery is available by calling 845-1732. Lever's Foods, Valley City.
Hi, this is Clint from Central Avenue Health Mart Pharmacy in beautiful downtown Valley City, your only locally owned pharmacy since 1989. When you're locally owned, you care about your community and your customers. We offer a great selection of gifts and toys, as well as yarns, fabrics, sewing, and crafting. We are here for you from 9 to 5:30 weekdays and Saturdays 9 to 1. For all your pharmaceutical needs, give us a call, 845-5280.
Health Mart, taking time to listen and care.
Welcome back to Viking basketball on the voice of the Vikings and the voice of the Valley, KOVC, from the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse. Home conference basketball conference opener for the Vikings tonight. It's been rough and tumble. Dakota State leads by 6 at 59-53. Misson Coylton with 18 points just put away a blocked shot that he was able to pull down in the deflection for Dakota State to push the lead back to 6. A timeout by Dakota State and a dribble drive by Agua Nywesh that's going to net a foul. And this looks to be going against Uzo Dibimaka. Let's wait and see where it goes. This may go against Akpan. He was in the vicinity. They're checking out a number. And we may have guessed wrong twice. They're going to get Josh Lewis for the foul. That'll be his second personal foul. Vikings shooting 43.5% from the field at the media stoppage. 46.2% for Dakota State from the field at the media stoppage. First foul shot, no good for Agua Nywesh. The second is. Agua Nywesh will now score his 7th point tonight, and the lead is trimmed to 5 at 59-54 in favor of the Trojans. The Vikings have to make a move, though, here at some point, and it's been tough sledding trying to get stops. Missin Coylton backing his way in, just turns and scores right over Osenu Nagome, and Missin Coylton has 20 points tonight for Dakota State. 61-54, lead back to 7 for the Trojans. Agua Naiwesh on the right side, working baseline, reverses with Osenu Nagome. Ball ends up being knocked out of bounds as Naiwesh took it to the basket. It'll be Dakota State basketball. Cleveland Bedgood has had his minutes severely limited throughout the course of the game. And Caden Rickard out there, or I should say rather Bedgood out there with 10 points, has not scored in the second half. Will try here with the 3 that he misses, and Missin Coylton comes up with the miss for Dakota State. So the Trojans back into the front court with the basketball, leading by 7. Drive, Lewis, basket, got there, and Josh Lewis will score. Hard take from the right wing. Lewis has his 3rd point, first field goal tonight. Trojans back up to a 9-point lead at 63-54. 11 minutes to play in the second half, so still a lot of time, but the Vikings have to find some answers defensively. A step in by Naiwesh to the left elbow for Osenu Nagome. Back to Cleveland Bedgood. Bedgood being challenged to stop, spins it into Odair Lang, who goes to the basket and scores the lay-in. And Odair Lang has been a man possessed in the second half. He has 8 points all second half scoring. Vikings back within 6, and here's Coylton for 3, launches, and it's missed. Rebound picked up on the baseline, but then out of bounds? Or is there a foul coming up against the Vikings? Looks like the Vikings are going to be called for a foul here. They're going to get Caden Rickard for his 2nd, pressuring the miss. It's the 3rd team foul against the Vikings, non-shooter. Dibby Maka will step off the floor, and we'll see Payne re-enter. Calvin Payne comes back in for Dakota State. Josh Lewis will inbound. Agua Naiwesh will step off the floor for Valley City State. Caden Grindy comes in to take his position. Inbounds pass to come in from Lewis. He's in trouble, calls for timeout. So a timeout taken by Dakota State with 10:32 to play in the second half. Still a 6-point lead for the Trojans at 63-57 on a LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. Timeout for Mobility Plus Rehabilitation. This is Viking basketball.
This is Dr. Ryan Lorenz, physical therapist at Mobility Plus Rehabilitation, with offices in Enderlin, Lisbon, Gwinner, and Valley City. Our mission is to provide exceptional physical and occupational therapy by highly skilled therapists to minimize pain and maximize mobility, which quickly allows you to return to the quality of life you desire. We will evaluate and educate you on your condition, review treatment options, and create an effective treatment plan to solve your impairments based on your unique situation and needs. I invite you to call our offices at Mobility Plus today.
Timeout taken by Dakota State as they look to hold on to a possession along the baseline. 10:32 to play in the second half. The Trojans leading the Vikings 63-57 in the men's conference opener for Valley City State tonight. Braden Pankinen driving baseline for Dakota State. A curl into Coylton, who goes reverse layup and scores. Missin Coylton has got 22 points tonight, including 9 field goals. He has been all over inside for Dakota State, and the lead's back to 8 for the Trojans at 65-57. Cleveland Bedgood surveying his options, drives in the lane, pulls up on a hook shot well over his head after a bump. Didn't get a call, didn't get the shot to go either, but Coylton turns the ball over coming back up the floor. Caden Grindy, a hard take to the basket, misses wildly. Rebound to Osenu Nagome. This gets tied up on a held ball. And we've got a little bit of extra turning and pushing and shoving on the end of this, but that's because Osenu Nagome was not giving up the basketball. It's a held ball, and Dakota State's going to take it on the arrow. There's a little lobbying going on between the Viking personnel on the floor and the officials about whether or not that should have been held. I think they thought Nagome had it, and then it was hands-on from Dakota State, but nonetheless, Trojans get the basketball off the arrow. Chance for a double-figure lead once again. Pankinen driving in, turning it back to Okpan on the top of the key. Coylton spin move, got around Grindy, goes to the basket and scores. Man, Missin Coylton is showing us something. 250-pound tight end play in post, and he has moves the Vikings can't follow. Bedgood, foul line jumper, his first scoring since the first half, and the Vikings will call for timeout as the lead is trimmed to 67-59. with 9.5 to go in the second half. Timeout taken by the Vikings with 9.5 to go. That gives us the opportunity again to give you the update on the weather situation. We have a winter weather advisory that has been put into effect by the National Weather Service. It came out at around 6:10 this evening, and it's going to be in effect until 6 o'clock tomorrow. Again, Barnes, Cass, Griggs, Steele, Ransom, Sergeant, Richland. So the Lisbon, Foreman, Wahpeton, Fargo, Valley City, Cooperstown, Findlay areas, and further up all the way to the Canadian border along that line, a little bit further west out to Devil's Lake as well. 2 inches of snow, 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts. We're talking about a half mile of visibility. That sometimes is a quarter mile of visibility, and slippery roads, probably more so tomorrow, but you could find some of that tonight. If you're moving around, be careful. The lead is 8 for Dakota State at 67-59. 9:28 to go second half. Trojans into the front court. Viking home opener in conference play, and it's on the line right about now. Braden Pankinen, double pivot out on the top of the key. Hands for Josh Lewis. Lewis dribbles his way into the lane. Posts up on Bedgood. Bedgood comes up, to challenge a shot. He's going to be called for his 4th personal foul. You know, we've had one official tonight that has been all over Cleveland Bedgood. I think 3 of Cleveland's 4 fouls have been called that way, and there was a lot of ball in that situation, and that is going to limit Cleveland's minutes until the very end of the game. And the leading scorer is going to be back on the bench for the Vikings again. Lewis with a foul shot for Dakota State, and it's no good. So Bedgood comes walking off the floor, and he's kind of asking, what did I do? As Agwan Iwesh will come in to replace him. Bedgood with 12. He had 10 first half points, and right now he's talking with Ryan Montgomery. On the near side of the floor, the head coach of the Vikings. Japjit Gill is set to come back into the game for Dakota State after suffering an injury earlier. The second foul shot for Lewis won't fall. The Vikings into the front court, still down by a 67-59 margin with 9 minutes to go. Very makeable game for the Vikings. They need some answers defensively. They like to find a shot that could fall too. Here's Ladarius Stanfield. There's one that will fall. 13-foot jumper on the baseline for Ladarius Stanfield. He's got 9. Lead cut to 6 at 67-61. Yochana Ochan on the top of the key. Handing inside to Lewis. The turn, the kick out. It's come out to Braden Pankinen. Pankinen working his way left, goes underneath. Ball deflected. That's out of bounds off Dakota State. Caden Grindy doing a nice job of screening off Calvin Payne. And Payne couldn't see the basketball. It then hits Payne while he's on the baseline, and the Vikings will get it back. Boy, if the Vikings could hit a 3 here and make this a one-possession game, you get the feeling like some momentum could turn. The Vikings have hit just 1 3 in the second half of basketball. Nywesh with his team down 6, curling into the lane for the Vikings. A stop-and-go dribble, got hung up, and the ball got knocked loose. Nywesh reaches down for it. He covers it up, and the Vikings may have called for timeout, or else we have a held ball. We have a held ball. That's going to be the call. And let's see where the possession's going to go. I believe it's Viking basketball, this time off the arrow. The Vikings will have just 13 to shoot. They're going to clean things up underneath the basket as several players went onto the floor to scramble for that loose basketball. Caden Rickard steps beyond the baseline to play it in. 13 to shoot for the Vikings. Rickard left side, Grindy catch and shoot 3, stuffed. Ball out of bounds off of Dakota State. Grindy trying to sell a foul on the three-point shot. And the Vikings will inbound with 11 seconds to shoot the basketball. And we'll wait for Ladarius Stanfield to step beyond the far sideline to inbound. And now I believe a timeout has been taken, and Valley City State will take it. So the Vikings will call for timeout with 8:17 left to go in the second half. 11 on the shot clock and a key possession. The Vikings down 6, 67-61 on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. Timeouts brought to you tonight by Mobility Plus Rehabilitation. This is Viking basketball on the Voice of the Vikings and the Voice of the Valley, KOVC.
Sanford Health of Valley City is dedicated to transforming your healthcare experience and providing access to world-class healthcare right here in America's heartland. We're committed to improving the human condition at every stage of life through exceptional care, spiritual enhancement, innovation, and discovery. Schedule your appointment today at Sanford Health of Valley City by calling 701-845-6000 or self-schedule online at mysanfordchart.org. Sanford Health, here for all, here for good.
(67-61) on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. Dakota State leading the Vikings tonight here at the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse on campus of Valley City State University. Welcome back to Viking basketball. Ryan Cunningham with you tonight. Conference opener. And the Viking men find themselves in a bit of a lurch. Leading scorer Cleveland Bedgood on the bench. Leading scorer off the bench throughout the course of the season, Lamar Graceman. Only 1 shift so far in the second half. Not sure if he's injured or whatever. But the Vikings are in some trouble. Ladarius Stanfield, an elbow jumper that's pulled up and missed. And off the rebound, the ball will come back to Emmanuel Okpan. And here come the Trojans, a chance to rebuild 8 or 9 point lead. Japjit Gill looking alley-oop underneath for the tap put in from Yochano Ochan. That's strong. Rebound Aguaniwesh Rickard in rhythm for 3. Transition, missed it. Rebound deflected to the perimeter. And Braden Pankinen will bring it down for Dakota State. Again, it's been that kind of night where the Vikings really have struggled to buy themselves a shot here tonight in their home gym. And here's a travel coming up against Braden Pankinen, sliding a pivot foot on the far wing. And back to the game comes Misson Coylton. 22 points on the night for the post player for Dakota State. And again, this is an interesting kid. 6'2", 250, playing the post at 6'2", and the spin moves and unbelievable finish he has at the basket has led him to a 22-point night tonight for Dakota State. Well undersized, playing the position well. Aguaniwesh to Alang looking down low. Post entry pass broken up. It's loose and taken back by Dakota State. Each team has really had the other zone solved and unsolved at different times of the night. Off the far sideline, Japjit Gill flexing his way back near side. Coylton spinning his way in the lane, trying to dish down low. That's out of bounds. And last touched underneath by Calvin Payne. This will be Viking basketball. Grindy out. Jerome Washington comes back in with 7:12 left to go in the half. Again, leading scorer on the year, Cleveland Bedgood, sitting on the bench with 4 fouls. He's got one more shift left in him. And Ryan Montgomery, the head coach of the Vikings, trying to figure out when to play that card. Right side, Rickard in the corner, looking to dish underneath and threw that one away. On the left side, a step down by Calvin Payne to cut off the passing lane. Coylton into the front court, leaving one off towards the left elbow. So we take it out in the corner. Kenny Haynes spinning his way in, a stop. Now a follow away with the left hand that's short, and the rebound to Jerome Washington for the Vikings. Outlet pass to Rickard. Odiero Lang trying to go hard to the basket. Got hit by Coylton. Ball's missed, or the shot is missed rather. The ball deflected to Aguaniwesh. Niwesh, I believe, called for timeout. And let's see if he did. And yeah, Aguaniwesh called for a timeout just as the ball was knocked out of his grasp. It'll be a 30-second timeout with 6:37 left to go in the second half of play. Tomorrow we're back at it. The Vikings at home to take on Bellevue and the Bruins in round 2 of conference play for Valley City State. Women's matchup at 3, the men at 5. Pregame at 2:35. Right here on the Voice of the Valley, KOVC. Join us for it coming up tomorrow afternoon. Cleveland Bedgood talking things over with Ryan Montgomery. I don't know if Cleveland's trying to work his way into the game or what he's doing, but he's going to go take his spot. The Vikings will inbound with 17 to shoot. And Ladarius Stanfield set to play it in for the Vikings. It comes into Caden Rickard for Valley City State. A handoff to Jerome Washington. Right side, Niwesh driving baseline. Spin move back. Went behind the back with the pass. Looking for Ladarius Stanfield, and it's thrown away. Not the play the Vikings were looking for. Still down 6 at 67-61. Trojans to the front court with it. Payne curling his way towards the left corner. Hands off to Kenny Haynes. Now back to Japjit Gill. Gill goes between the legs of the dribble. Runs into Rickard. Here's an offensive foul. And that, Japjit Gill is going to say that's not an offensive foul, and he's probably not wrong. But the way that that call has gone all throughout the night, it now has to be called that way because of the way that the offensive foul situation has worked itself out throughout the course of the game. And credit the officials for saying this is an offensive foul, we're going to call it, and I guess the adjustments are being made. Jerome Washington, a head fake to draw a defender. Goes to Odiero Lang, left on the baseline, trying to work his way in. Ball knocked out of his hands. Another turnover. Boy, the Vikings have had butter fingers the last few trips up the floor. Still a 6-point game. Less than 6 minutes to go in the second half. Dakota State leading 67-61 and with their hands on the basketball. Lewis handing off to the top of the key for Kenny Haynes. Back to Josh Lewis, running hard to get inside. He turns, pivots, falls away. Whistle, walk. This will go back to Valley City State. And Uzo Dibimaka will find his way back into the matchup for the Trojans with 5:41 now remaining in the second half. An anemic offensive effort. Neither team's been able to score. The Vikings into the front court with the basketball, trailing by 6. Back in the game now is Cleveland Bedgood for Valley City State. He'll have to be careful with 4 fouls. Stanfield, a jump shot off the heel of the rim. Nothing falling for the Vikings at home tonight. Haynes into the front court for the Trojans. He'll turn it back to Josh Lewis on the right sideline. Lewis taking it up against Jerome Washington. Got a screen from Alang. Turns it back to the top of the key. Braden Pankinen moves his way over towards the right side of the floor. A stop, a look, into missing Coylton. Coylton hard against Jerome Washington inside, pulls up and misses. Washington got the stop, and Coylton just picked up his 4th foul. Hard over the body of Jerome Washington, trying to knock the rebound free. Solid contact there, not a whole lot that Coylton can complain about, and that will also send Jerome Washington to the foul line. That's the 9th team foul against Dakota State. Now the 7th and 8th were offensive, so the Vikings haven't yet shot the penalty, but that's the last foul Dakota State had to give. It's the double penalty the remainder of the way with 5:02 left in the half and the game, or at least in regulation. We'll see Jerome Washington at the line, sinks the front end. Jerome Washington with 7. He was 3 of 4 from the foul line back in the opening half. Hunter Lyman will get in off the bench. Second foul shot for Washington, good. He coolly makes both ends of the penalty. 8 points for Jerome Washington. Lead cut to 4, 67-63. 5 minutes to go on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. Can the Vikings get a stop and a chance to make this a one-possession game? Lewis into the front court, handing for missing Coylton. Back to Lewis. Out on top, ball taken by Uzo Dibimaka. Dibimaka stop, looking for Pankinen, can't find him. Into Coylton, one-on-one with Washington in the block. Coylton spin off the glass, score it. Missing Coylton has been almost automatic tonight. That's his 9th field goal of the second half, and the Vikings find themselves back down by a 6-point margin at 69-63. Washington, deep 3, and he hits it from the left sideline. Jerome Washington, just a step in bounds on the far side of the floor, sinks a 3. The Vikings back within 3 at 69-66. Dibimaka looking at Coylton on the top of the key. Coylton driving into the lane, spin on Bedgood, pulls up, missed it. Hunter Lyman had the rebound, got fouled, and the Vikings are going to the foul line, and missing Coylton may be done for the night. Missing Coylton is going to foul out of the game, and the Trojans will lose their leading scorer. 26 points tonight for missing Coylton. Darren Tighe lobbying his case. The first-year head coach for Dakota State, the former Mayville State University skipper, arguing his case on missing Coylton's 5th foul. Coylton finds himself done, and the Vikings are at the foul line with a chance to cut this to a 1-point game. Yochana Ochan set to walk onto the floor for Dakota State as the replacement. And Ochan comes into the game as Hunter Lyman will shoot the double penalty for Valley City State. Lyman was fouled in the act of shooting, or actually, no, Lyman was fouled as the 10th team foul for Dakota State, so the double penalty. And Lyman's looking for his first scoring tonight. First foul shot for Lyman, good. Lyman cuts it to one possession it was already, cuts it to a 2-point game at 69-67. This to make it a 1-point game. Lyman leans into the second, it rolls off. It'll stay a 2-point matchup. 69-67 with 4:05 to play in regulation. Pankinen off to the right side for Dibimaka. He'll hand it off. Jip Jap Gill moving back towards the left. A stop into the lane. Pankinen, head fake, working back against Agua Iowash. Crowd into it now. Pankinen steps in, steps back, shot clock at 10. Out on top, this is taken up by Okpan. Okpan behind the back on the dribble, whistle and a foul coming up. Caden Rickard trying to reach in after a loose basketball, and Rickard will be called for his 3rd personal. The Vikings had thought they had forced a turnover. It's the 5th team foul against the Vikings. They have one more to give, and this will not be on the shot, so Dakota State will re-inbound the basketball. They'll trigger underneath the hoop. Lewis will inbound. They stack up 4 corners around the paint. Lewis looking, still looking, timeout. Dakota State forced into a stoppage with 3:46 left to go in the second half. So a timeout taken by Dakota State with 3:46 left second half, 2-point game in the conference opener for the Viking men. The Vikings trail 69-67 to Dakota State We have a timeout for Mobility Plus Rehabilitation. This is Viking basketball on the voice of the Vikings and the voice of the Valley, KOVC.
This is Hannah Whelan at Valley City State University. The V500 scholarship members' generosity and commitment is exactly the kind of community involvement we need to keep VCSU going strong. The many scholarships provided are a testament to the support of the alumni, family, and friends of VCSU. Please keep expanding the opportunities available to enhance the lives of the next generation and make a difference for attracting future Vikings by supporting scholarships online at give.vcsu.edu or by calling the VCSU Foundation.
Well, this is the way conference basketball should be. Gritty down to the finish. 69-67, Dakota State University leading Valley City State tonight. The Vikings down 2 in their conference opener. Here at the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse on campus of Valley City State, the Vikings have cut an 11-point lead to 2. Misson Coylton, the leading scorer for Dakota State with 26 points, has fouled out of the basketball game. Cleveland Bedgood, the leading scorer for the Vikings this year, currently on the bench, playing with 4 fouls when he's in. And Dakota State will inbound the basketball after a foul that went against Caden Rickard on the floor. The Vikings with 1 foul to give. Dakota State already in the double penalty. Every foul they give up is 2 Viking foul shots. Ball to the top of the key. Josh Lewis off the inbounds play. Shot clock at 10. Lewis looking to the right side, finding Braden Pankinen. Pankinen a stop along the sideline, reverses back to Lewis. 5 on the shot clock. Lewis a stop on the foul line, pulls up on a jumper, trickles around, and it finds its way in off the heel of the rim as the shot clock had expired. Josh Lewis with 5. The Vikings back down 2 possessions at 71-67. Left side, Jerome Washington, who hit a big 3 a moment ago. He hits a big 3 again. Top of the key, Jerome Washington sticks. He's got 8 in the second half, 3 threes and 14 points. And the Vikings have lurched back to within 1. 71-70 with 3 minutes left to go here in the second half. Lewis on the right side for Dakota State. Back to the top of the key for Divi Maka. Josh Lewis again off to Braden Pankinen. His 3 for the answer is no good. And the rebound's loose underneath. It's picked up by Agwin Iwesh for Valley City State. And the Vikings go lead hunting with 2:40 left to go in the second half. Nywesh near side, timeout. Valley City State with 2:36 to go. And Cleveland Bedgood is coming into the game on the timeout. 2:36 left in the second half. The Vikings are back within 1. 71-70 Dakota State on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. We have a timeout for Mobility Plus Rehabilitation. This is Viking basketball on the voice of the Vikings and the voice of the Valley, KOVC.
When you're craving the taste of juicy, flavorful, locally sourced beef and pork, look no further than your locally owned Valley Meat Supply. At Valley Meat Supply, we take pride in bringing you the finest cuts of beef and pork straight from local producers. So whether you're planning a mouth-watering barbecue or a cozy family meal, choose Valley Meat Supply for the highest quality, locally grown beef, pork, and award-winning jerky, sticks, and sausage. Valley Meat Supply, West Main, Valley City. Your taste buds will thank you.
71-70 on your LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. The Vikings trailing Dakota State by 1 here at the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse. Welcome back to Viking basketball. Vikings fell behind by as many as 11. Cleveland Bedgood, the leading scorer for the Vikings, in and out of the lineup all night due to foul trouble. He's coming back in now. And the Vikings trailed by as many as 11 in the second half. But Jerome Washington, a couple of big threes. Odir Olaying, solid in the post for the Vikings. And the leading scorer for Dakota State on the bench with 5 fouls. And it's all led to the Vikings closing the gap to 1 with 2.5 minutes left in the conference opener. Cleveland Bedgood off the dribble for 3. That one will not fall. The rebound's on the floor, scramble. It's picked up by Dakota State, now loose. And a timeout was taken by Dakota State after the ball was covered up on the floor by, I believe, Emmanuel Okpan. So the Trojans will call for timeout. That may have been their final timeout to use, and it was. The Vikings have 2 remaining. Dakota State will be out of timeouts now that they've extinguished that one. With Misson Coylton in the matchup tonight for Dakota State, 26 points. Dakota State broke down the Viking zone rather easily. A variety of spin move and ball handling for Misson Coylton, is only 6 feet 2 inches tall. Comes in at 250 pounds, Stockton, California native. I mean, this guy looks more like a tight end or a linebacker than he looks like a post player in basketball. But he made a believer out of all of us tonight as he just broke down Viking defender after Viking defender. But right now with him out of the game with 5 fouls, Dakota State's looking for a couple of answers offensively. Now they have them. When you start looking at where they're going to go with the basketball on the floor, it's kind of a crapshoot. Braden Pankinen has 3 threes tonight, 11 points. He's the guy that they could go to. Really, he's the only player on the floor right now with consistent scoring for Dakota State. I'm not saying they're one-dimensional, but when you start trying to figure out defensively where to move your chess pieces around to see who you defend and how, Braden Pankinen is probably a guy you start with. 5'9" freshman out of Del Rapids, South Dakota, that's hit from long range throughout the course of the night. Dakota State basketball, they'll inbound following the timeout. 2:25 left to go second half, and here come the Trojans into the front court. Kenny Haynes running left against Stanfield, got to the glass and scores. Kenny Haynes with 10. The lead is 3 once again for Dakota State at 73-70. Aguaniwesh, Rickard, Washington, a head fake, drew the defense, he'll drive, pulls up off the glass, Washington rolls one through. Jerome Washington with another big basket in the second half. 10 of his 16 have come since halftime. We're inside at 2 minutes left to go in the second half. 73-72. Lewis to the basket, foul. Josh Lewis just running his way inside. That was the last foul that the Vikings had to give. It'll be the penalty the rest of the way, and this will result in foul shots for Josh Lewis. The foul will go against Aguaniwesh, his second. So Josh Lewis is on his way to the stripe. This will be 2 automatic. Lewis is 1 of 4 from the foul line tonight. And Lewis, who is supposed to shoot here, looks to be favoring an eye or something. He's coming back onto the floor after coming over to the bench. Might have been trying to just wipe some sweat out of his eyes or something along those lines. And we'll see Josh Lewis going to the foul line for 2. His first is on the way. It's good. Josh Lewis now with 5 second half. He's got 6 for the game. Odie Lang, Cleveland Bedgood back in. Hunter Lyman, Aguaniwesh will come out. The offense-defense sub now beginning to work for head coach Ryan Montgomery of the Vikings with 1:52 left in the game. Second on the way for Lewis is good. The lead's back to 3. Lewis knocks down both ends. 75-72. The Vikings down by 3 with 1 minute and 45 seconds left to go in half number 2. Bedgood, crossover dribble to the foul line. Another teardrop for Bedgood, well short. Rebound taken down underneath by Emmanuel Akpan for Dakota State, and the Trojans can make it a 2-possession game again with 1.5 minutes to go. Lewis running towards the near corner. Bedgood coming out to defend him. Lewis going to take his time. Shot clock at 15 seconds, and we'll see Yochana Ochan come up to set a screen for Lewis. Lewis uses it, runs his way towards the right wing, still handling the basketball. 7 on the shot clock. Akpan driving, Euro step to the basket. Akpan will score. Emmanuel Akpan scores his 6th. Now the Vikings need a 3 with 1 minute and 5 seconds to go. Washington left corner. Odie Lang left alone. They'll dork him. He'll take it, and it's no good. And the Trojans can start putting this one away. Under 1 minute to play. The lead is 2 possessions, and Valley City State back defensively needing to make something happen. I'm a bit surprised that they don't foul in this situation. Ball on the right side of the floor with Braden Pankinen for Dakota State. He goes between the legs of the dribble, sends it back to Lewis out by the circle. Yochana Ochan comes out to set a screen. Lewis driving against Lang, stops on the foul line, pops a jumper, it's missed. The rebound corralled on the floor underneath. There's a scramble on for it. This is going to be a held ball, I believe, and Dakota State has the benefit of the Euro. Vikings with 2 timeouts left to go. You might take one here to set up something defensively, and now Ryan Montgomery talking to his team, signaling that they have to foul in order to put Dakota State on the foul line, and they'll have to pray for some misses here as well. Huge game in the conference tonight. Dakota State losing their last 3 games. At one point, they were a 10-4 basketball team and had won 8 games in a row. Since then, they had lost 5 of 7. This one opening up conference play tonight. When you win on the road in this league, it's a tough thing to do. And Dakota State on the cusp of grabbing a road win in the North Star Athletic Association. Inbounds pass comes into Pankin, and he's fouled by Caden Rickard. 4th on Rickard. Pankinen's a good shooter. Probably not the player the Vikings wanted to foul, but they don't have much of a choice. Yochano Ochan comes back into the matchup. He's going to replace Uzo Dibimaka. And in the meantime, Pankinen will shoot 1-for-1 penalty, and the Vikings desperately need a miss on the front end. The Vikings will go a little smaller here as well, as we're going to see Ladarius Stanfield step out for Aqua Naiwesh. So the Vikings with 4 3-point shooters potentially on the floor here. First on the way for Pankinen's good. Braden Pankinen now with 12, and the lead is 6, and this is the one that hurts. It's a 2-possession game at this point. Second foul shot, now it's a 3-possession game. Pankinen hits it, 13 points for Braden Pankinen. 79-72. The Vikings absolutely have to hurry. Up the floor, Rickard, Bedgood looking right side. Washington forces up a 3, no good. Rebound underneath, brought down by Okpan. He steps away from pressure, ball bounced loose. Rickard will pick up the loose basketball. He sends it back to the top of the key. It's deflected high in the air. Yochano Ochan pulls it down. There's only 8 seconds to go. Pankinen's fouled, and the Vikings are going to drop their conference opener. Tough loss tonight for Valley City State in their home gym. A team that knows how to score the basketball. That'll be held to right around 72 points. They have that right now. A disappointing night shooting the basketball for the Vikings. And Dakota State just enough down the stretch, along with a big night from their post player, Misson Coylton, to put this one away. Pankinen steps up, hits the front end. 14 points for Braden Pankinen. All automatic at this point. 80-72 your score. And Pankinen back at the foul line, 81-72, as he knocks down the back end. 5 seconds. Washington steps into the front court, pulls up for 3 at the horn, and it's no good. And that'll be the end of the matchup. And Dakota State will sweep the Vikings tonight in the conference opener. Dakota State defeats Valley City State. Your final score from the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse is the Trojans 81 and the Vikings 72. The Trojans improve to 11-7, and the Vikings will fall to 8-7. The Trojans are now 1-1 in North Star Athletic Association play, and the Vikings are 0-1. Your post-game report is on the way next. This is Viking basketball on the voice of the Vikings and the voice of the Valley, KOVC.
Rambo, a proud sponsor and fan of Viking Athletics, has been serving North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota with quality logoed apparel and promotional products since 1979. With online store options built to meet the needs of your company, organization, or team, Rambo will ensure that the process of ordering is easy and accurate and that your items are received on time. When you're ready to put your logo to work, give Matt a call at 701-680-9585. Rambo, we're in the business of making you look good.
CHI Mercy Health in Valley City strives to bring you quality health care close to home. They're bringing in mammography services, extended their occupational therapy program, and updated physical therapy and emergency room spaces. They're currently seeking to fill a number of positions. To find out more, head to chimercyhealth.org under the Careers tab. CHI Mercy Health Valley City, voted top 100 critical access hospital and one of the first in the nation designated as an acute cardiac ready hospital, providing quality health care close to home.
Are you on the right financial path? Are all your financial professionals on the same page? At LaRue Lockout Financial, you can be assured that your investment professional and tax professional are working together. Call Ryan LaRue at 701-845-6938 or James M. Lockout at CPA 701-845-1660. Services offered through Investment Advisors, a division of Pro Equities Incorporated, a registered investment advisor, and securities offered through Pro Equities Incorporated, a registered broker-dealer and member FINRA and SIPC.
We welcome you to our post-game report tonight from the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse here at Valley City State University. The Viking men beaten tonight, and it's a sweep for Dakota State University over the Vikings this evening after the 13th ranked team in the country in women's play comes in from Madison, South Dakota, and tops the Vikings by a score of 104-67. The Viking men are beaten tonight by a score of 81-72, and Dakota State snaps a 3-game losing streak and grabs their first win in conference play. The Vikings fall to 0-1, and a tough one tonight for Valley City State to absorb as we welcome you to our post-game report tonight. Minutes for Cleveland Bedgood limited due to some foul trouble throughout the course of the evening tonight. That was a big part of it. The other part, just no chance to defend Misson Coylton, who kind of ran rampant over everybody out there for the Vikings. The Vikings tried several defensive combinations against him tonight, and about the only thing they could find that worked was to see him foul out of the basketball game, and that gave the Vikings a chance. But Coylton finishes with 26 points this evening for Dakota State and was the troublemaker for Valley City State tonight. And yet the Vikings continued to find their way back into the matchup. They get a nice night tonight from Jerome Washington, who stepped up and hit a couple of huge three-point shots when the Vikings needed it. And in the long run, Washington will end up leading the Vikings in scoring tonight. He knows he can do that. The Vikings know he can do it as well. And he had to change the complexion of the game with those three-point shots that he hit. And the Vikings cut a one-time 11-point lead down to 1 and had chances, but just could not come back and take the lead in the second half. And Dakota State will grab the victory tonight. Trojans end up shooting 48% from the field for the game tonight, and that's going to be the big mark that the Vikings will definitely gather and talk about. And when Masson Coylton's hitting all those looks on the inside, I mean, when you're able to get separation from short range like that, you're going to have a really, really high percentage of hitting shots, and that's exactly what happened. The Viking defense just couldn't find a way to get him a tough look tonight. And then on a couple of occasions when he did have tough looks, he was able to convert those. But the Vikings shooting less than 40% from the field in their own gym, that's something they're really going to talk about. They shot 43% in the second half. From the three-point line tonight, the Vikings were just 5 of 23. That's a mainstay in their game, and that's something else they're going to talk about this evening as well. 21 of 30 from the foul line for the Vikings, which isn't terrible, isn't great, but isn't terrible. Dakota State University, 12 of 17 from the foul line. Rebounding advantage, Trojans 42-35, 12-9 on the offensive glass. Dakota State turned it over 18 times. The Vikings turned it over 17 times. So the Vikings did their job forcing turnovers, but they didn't really have much of an opportunity to take an advantage of it because they turned it over quite a bit as well. Individual numbers that we had for you tonight. Dakota State University, Masson Coylton, 26 points, 10 rebounds, a double-double tonight for Masson Coylton. 6 points, 11 rebounds tonight for Emmanuel Okpan to lead the way rebounding the basketball. Scoring, Braden Pankinen with 15 points tonight. Kenny Haynes finishes with 10. Uzo Dibimaka will knock down 8 tonight. 7 points for Josh Lewis. Emmanuel Okpan with 6. Also, I believe we said Dibimaka had 8. I apologize for that. 3 points tonight for Calvin Payne. Jipjat Gill with 4 this evening. And 2 for Uchana Ochan for Dakota State. For the Vikings tonight, Jerome Washington, 16 points, leads the way. 9 points, 10 rebounds for Oda Uralang. He leads the way rebounding the basketball tonight. 12 apiece for Caden Rickard and Cleveland Bedgood, each knocking down 12 points and grabbing 2 rebounds tonight. But again, Bedgood's numbers severely limited due to limited minutes. Bedgood played just 22 minutes tonight. By comparison, Caden Rickard played 33. If Bedgood gets himself 11 more minutes this evening, this game is probably a little bit different story. Ladarius Stanfield with 9, Agua Naiwesh with 8. We mentioned Odir Olang's 9 as well. Oseno Nagome finishes with 3 tonight. Caden Grindy will knocks down 2, and Hunter Lyman with a single tonight. And the Vikings drop this one by a final score of 81-72. We're joined on the post-game report tonight by the head coach of the Vikings, Ryan Montgomery. And Ryan, a frustrating one for you because there really wasn't a lot of tempo, a lot of rhythm in the game at all this evening, and it seemed like you were constantly facing some adversity of some kind. And I know as a head basketball coach at the collegiate level, you're going to say, well, we're going to face adversity in every game, but it seemed like it was about 40 minutes of adversity tonight. There really weren't stretches of the game where things went well for you or came to you easily.
No, they did a good job. I mean, their zone definitely messes with your rhythm and all those things. I thought we got good looks. We shot 5 of 23 from the 3, which is not good enough to win a college basketball game. Obviously, they shot 5 of 20, but again, we gave up way too many little things. Like we just weren't tough enough. We too many offensive rebounds. Can't have 17 turnovers, especially 9 from your 2 wings, starting wings. Those things can't happen, and they did tonight.
Minutes limited for Cleveland Bedgood tonight, and a handful of offensive fouls for Cleveland tonight. I think that he's used to those calls going the other way in a lot of games that he played. They called the offensive foul rather consistently throughout the course of the night, but you had a different look at it down there. You can tell us what you thought in that regard here this evening.
I don't know what is a charge anymore and what is not a charge. And I'm not trying to say that that's the official's fault or anything. There's just been so many rule changes in regards to it. I couldn't really tell you exactly what is and what isn't anymore. There's so many different rules now. With it's a secondary defender, his foot need to be planted before this and all this. And I don't think officials know the true answer, and I don't think coaches or players know the true answer anymore. All I know is that once they start calling them, our players need to adapt also. Like Cleveland, you need to understand that, hey, on the third one, you probably can't do the same move over and over and over again. And we tried to explain that, and we didn't adapt.
Defending Masson Coylton tonight, he ends up with 26 points this evening, and a lot of it was running at you with spin moves and ball handling. And he's obviously very good, very quick. I'm assuming you knew a little bit about him, but tell us a bit about what kind of – you had 3 different guys that tried to defend him. I think Jerome Washington probably defended him the best of anybody tonight.
Yeah, I mean, with our defense that we run in terms of our man-to-man, we don't know what certain matchups will happen. Against the zone, it was unacceptable. We talked about that at half. They had 20 points at half in the paint, and we don't want that. I mean, we shouldn't get outscored in the paint with our zone defense. It just shouldn't happen, and it did. And we went over it all week, and again, he's a good basketball player, and hats off to him.
Let's talk about Jerome Washington. You've mentioned him before, that he's the guy that can hit a three-point shot. In fact, I think when we had you on after the University of Jamestown game, you said he might be our best three-point shooter that we have in the lineup. And 2 big three-point shots that put this game back in a reachable situation for you. A couple of nice defensive plays. I thought Jerome had a pretty nice game for you tonight.
Yeah, he did. I mean, 16 points off the bench, 4 of 8, 3 of 7 from 3. I thought he defended solidly. He was 5 of 6 from the free throw line. Yeah, I mean, he 2 rebounds. He 19 minutes. He was very efficient tonight for us. He's a good basketball player. We have a lot of good basketball players. Our basketball players need to start. I need to start coaching them on little things and hold them more accountable on certain things, and they need to start executing those things.
Lamar Grayson, he's been a double-figure player off the bench for you throughout the course of the year. Got 1 little shift tonight, and that was it. He just kind of came in and didn't really have a lot of minutes for you. Can you tell us if there's an injury there, or there's something going on, or was it just not a right matchup for him tonight, that type of thing?
Lamar's a good basketball player. He did have an injury right before Morris, and it just set him back a little bit. We like how our rotation is with what we did tonight and what we've seen in practice, and that's big to us. Practice is practice, and you gotta do it in practice so you can see the floor during game day, and then your body language needs to be really, really good.
All right. So you get ready for Bellevue tomorrow, and you definitely want to sweep at home, but when you're kind of backs to the wall when you're in conference play and you lose the Friday night game. It doesn't really matter who comes in here on Saturday, right? Now you feel like you got to get a win out of here, or you're really back against the wall early as far as conference race. So it's a big, big, big game tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, all of them are big, but, all I'm concentrating on is making sure our basketball team does the right things over and over and over again. I'm not really focused on, trying to stay in the race right now or anything, because, I have a whole new basketball team, and this is a lot of learning going on. But obviously everybody else is going to care about those things and all that stuff. I'm just focused on how do we start playing our best basketball, and we have yet to play our best basketball. And I thought tonight we got out-toughed, and it's another learning experience about how to start conference play.
Coach, thank you so much for the time tonight. We appreciate it. Let's see you tomorrow afternoon. We'll see if we can't get a split out of this thing. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Ryan Montgomery, the head coach of the Viking men's basketball team, joining us here in our postgame report tonight. The Vikings, again, beaten in men's play by a final score of 81-72. We'll come back and wrap things up in a couple of moments as we continue with our postgame report from the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse tonight. Player of the Game Award is next. This is Viking basketball on the Voice of the Vikings, the Voice of the Valley, KOVC.
Every body is different. Some experience injuries, while others need extra support.
I'll help you, Grandma.
At Jamestown Regional Medical Center, your health is what matters most. Our orthopedics and sports medicine team care for you and your unique needs. Their goal is to help you live your best life. Choose Jamestown Regional Medical Center for care of hips, shoulders, knees, and broken bones. Learn more at jrmcnd.com/orthopedics.
Why choose professional eye care centers? Let me count the whys. First, there are now 4 great doctors to see. Dr. Frank, Dr. Freilich, Dr. Jangela, and now welcoming Dr. Bond. Next is their many locations. You can now see one of their spectacular doctors in Jamestown, Valley City, Carrington, Edgeley, Ellendale, and Lemoore. And finally, their fantastic frame selection. And yes, all of their frames and lenses are backed up by warranty. Visit ProEyeCareCenters.com and make an appointment today. Professional Eye Care Centers, clearly the best.
Back to wrap things up tonight for Viking basketball, the voice of the Vikings and the voice of the Valley, KOVC from the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse. Tough night for the Vikings, beaten on both ends. They dropped the women's matchup tonight by a final of 104-67 to the 13th ranked team in the nation in Dakota State, and the Viking men are beaten tonight by Dakota State by a score of 81-72. We finish things off with our Player of the Game Award tonight. Our Player of the Game Award is brought to you tonight by Ivy Real Estate Group. Ivy Real Estate Group is supporting the home team and every Viking broadcast that we have throughout the course of the year and every Highlander broadcast that we have as well here on KOVC. Ivy Real Estate Group is your only locally owned real estate firm in Valley City, and they're ready to help you with that next purchase. Ivy Real Estate Group saluting the Player of the Game tonight, and obviously, that's got to go to Jerome Washington, not just because he was the leading scorer tonight, which he was for the Vikings with 16 points, but it was his three-point shooting in the second half that took a game that had absolutely no rhythm and no, I guess you could say, not just rhythm, but really no momentum for the Vikings, and gave them a chance to come back and get this one down the stretch, pulling the Vikings back to within one. Jerome Washington will be our Player of the Game Award winner tonight, brought to you by Ivy Real Estate Group, saluting the home team in tonight's matchup. And that'll do it for Viking basketball tonight. We're going to be back at it again coming up tomorrow here at the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse as Bellevue comes to town. It's the Bruins and Vikings tomorrow afternoon. It'll be a 3 o'clock tip-off coming up tomorrow, a 2:35 pregame report coming up tomorrow, and then that tip-off will be at 3, and you'll hear that right here on the voice of the Vikings and the voice of the Valley, KOVC. So join us for that coming up tomorrow afternoon to wrap up the conference weekend for Viking basketball. So join us then. But the Vikings are beaten tonight. Again, your final scores: Dakota State in women's play 104-67 over the Vikings, and in men's play it's Dakota State 81, the Vikings 72. For KOVC Sports and Viking basketball, I'm Ryan Cunningham saying so long, everybody.
This is 1490 KOVC AM Valley City and 96.3 K242CZ Valley City.
The voice of the Valley.
Fox News, I'm Jack Callahan. The U.S. military has carried out additional strikes against the Houthis in Yemen. Earlier in the day, President Biden warned there could be more airstrikes in retaliation for Houthi attacks on international shipping.
We will make sure that we respond to the Houthis as they continue this outrageous behavior, along with our allies.
The Pentagon says the Houthis fired another ballistic missile today. It did not hit a target. A fierce winter storm in the Midwest is making it hard for GOP presidential candidates to campaign for Monday's Iowa caucuses, including Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis.
I'll brave whatever we need to. I mean, nothing's handed to you in this life, much less a presidential nomination. So if you have to go and trudge through snow to be able to earn the vote, you trudge through snow to be able to earn the vote.
Much of Iowa is forecast to be below zero during Monday's caucuses. America is listening to Fox News.
Don't miss out on limited-time appliance deals during the closeout event at Lowe's. Get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, save an extra $100 when you spend $999 or more on all major appliances. Hurry, these deals are too good to last long. Shop in-store or online today, because Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid 1/4 through 1/24. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for details.
At Progressive, we love sports and saving you money, so we bundled them together.
2 seconds left on the clock, third field goal range, and it looks like he's going to go with a 5-iron. No, wait. The quarterback is skating back on the ice. He's talking with his caddy. They're pulling the goalie. He skates off the fairway as the kicker lines up his putt. It's a breakaway! They've bundled their home and auto insurance with Progressive. Touchdown savings, birdie goal!
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Here is your Egg Central forecast from meteorologist Mick Kerr. Tonight and tomorrow, partly to mostly cloudy, cold and cold wind chills. Maybe a ½ inch to an inch or two of snow. Increasing winds 25 to 35. It's going to cause some blowing snow, but mainly very cold wind chills, the worry here. Lows 10 to 15 below, but High temperatures 0 to 5 below. Those wind chills 35 below or worse. And then on Sunday, we're looking at air temperatures 15 to 20 below and wind chills 30 to 40 below before we start to recover towards the middle and end of next week. For more weather, log on to newsdakota.com.
KOVC, 1490 AM and 96.3 FM. The voice of the Valley.
I came here looking for something I couldn't find anywhere else. Hey, I'm not trying to be nobody. I just want a chance to be myself. I've spent 1,000 miles of thumbing. Yes, I've worn blisters on my heels, trying to find me something better here on the streets of Bakersfield. Hey, you don't know me, but you don't like me. Say you care less how I feel, but how many of you that sit and judge me ever walk the streets of Bakersfield? Spent some time in San Francisco. I spent a night there in the can. Lived through this drunk man in my jail cell. I took $15 from that man, left him my watch and my old house key. Don't want folks thinking that I'd steal. And I thanked him as I was leaving, and I headed out for Bakersfield. Hey, you don't know me, but you don't like me. Say you care less how I feel, but how many of you that sit and judge me ever walk the streets of Bakersfield? Hey, $100 bills, and it kills and it thrills like the horns on my Silverado grill. And I buy the bar a double round of Crown, and everybody's getting down in this town. Ain't never gonna be the same. 'Cause I saddle up my horse and I ride into the city. I make a lot of noise 'cause the girls, they are so pretty. Riding up and down Broadway on my old stud Leroy, and the girls say, save a horse, ride a cowboy. Everybody says, save a horse, ride a cowboy. Well, I don't give a dang about nothing. I'm singing and bling-blinging while the girls are drinking. Long necks down, and I wouldn't trade old Leroy or my Chevrolet for your Escalade or your freak parade. I'm the only John Wayne left in this town. And I saddle up my horse and I ride into the city. I make a lot of noise 'cause the girls, they are so pretty. Riding up and down Broadway on my old stud Leroy, and the girls say, save a horse, ride a cowboy. Everybody says, save a horse, ride a cowboy. Thoroughbred, that's what she said in the back of my truck bed as I was getting buzzed on suds out on some backcountry road. We were flying high, fine as wine, having ourselves a big and rich time, and I was going just about as far as she'd let me go. But her evaluation of my cowboy reputation had me begging for salvation all night long. So I took her out gigging frogs, introduced her to my old bird dog, and sang her every Willie Nelson song I could think of.